Salon people and then party them. Sarah Gem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the President's Hour and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sarahgemmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
The total population of Sierra Leone in 2019 was stated approximately at 7.8 million. And the most common cancer reported in 2018 was breast cancer, with an incidence rate of 25.1% and a mortality rate of 19.2%. Ward 2 at the Connaught Hospital, Freetown, is a female surgical ward that cares for patients requiring breast surgery, chemotherapy, and palliative care. General surgery also admits to the ward as see fit. The ward is in need of a significant refurbishment and has a major impact on patient assessment and delivery of treatment, dignity, comfort, and infection control measures. The current ward area presents a significant challenge to infection control. There is no fit for purpose or adequate personal hygiene facilities. The showers and sanitary areas are in poor condition and are difficult to clean. The flooring is deteriorated. Overall deco and fabric of the walls need repair and full decoration. Furniture, cupboards, and shelving require replacement. The sluice, known to be the dirty utility room, is in poor condition and needs replacing. Windows need to be replaced as current windows bring in draughts, dust, debris, mosquitoes, and rodents. There is no designated area to provide a day service for patients receiving chemotherapy. Medical supplies is desperately needed. Therefore, we need a total amount of £15,000, which is equivalent to 195 million leones, for this project. This project will focus on women diagnosed with breast cancer and other non-malignant breast abnormalities requiring one or more of the treatment modalities that are currently available. We will also set up a day unit for the administration of chemotherapy and provide training and development to ensure sustainability. Therefore, I am pleading to all individuals, organizations, and local businesses, and every Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone to make a meaningful contribution that will never go in vain. Ways to contribute will be seen at the end of this clip. I am Aissata Cissé Jallow of the Health Show Partnership Program. Remember, your health is your wealth.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence.
Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible acts.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money. Women are forced to be silenced.
All this must stop, and it must stop now.
Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
Nina Yvonne Akisoya, and 11th May 2021 make me 3 years we are on day in office. I say let I come and tell Fritonians them una boku boku tenki for way una elect me and wanna give me this mandate for serve una. But I not just want to tell una tenki for when I elect me, I want to tell una tenki for when I don't work with me and work with the councillors, work with the staff of Freetown City Council, work with so many stakeholders, including the central government, the international partners, the local partners. I want to tell una, the Freetonians, and thank you, but I want to tell all the other groups and the Boku Boku Tenki. Together, we embark on a journey for Transform Freetown, and in nobody not been say it go easy. We published the plan in January 2019, and then in January 2020, we published our first year report, and then in January 2021, we don't publish with 2-year report. Inside the reports and day, you go able for read in much more detail, waiting we don't achieve. But family them, I still I just share today some of the things that really make me heart gladdy pan this walk here. One thing we're really glad about, now the wastewater treatment plant where we don't build na King Tom. This is not the first time ever in the history of Salone for let we get the thing we come on the toilet. Instead of it just gonna grow na King Tom, it actually go into a plant where they get for separate the solid from the liquid and get for treat them and waiting for come out can go towards manure. It can now be safely, the liquid can now safely be disposed into the waterways. Another practical thing we are so glad for, now this urban farming project, we bring over 300, in fact we start with 300, now we add another 200 women them. We now at them backyard them and in community level, particularly in the deprived communities.
And you can create this, what you give, the okra they come up, they will plant them.
The women they do farming projects where go benefit them picking them, for get more nutritious food, but it go also help them for get small thing at the hand as they sell them in the market. And then their nursery school. Family then go no say we've been done open the one at Congo Water Market for make vulnerable women them and their young picking it under the age of 5 get free quality preschool care. And now we dip and build the second one. We do refurbishment upstairs in the Croton Road Market, and that facility will be open and available to women and men traders inside Croton Road Market. Tricycles. Well, then tricycle and they not only then they help for keep we city clean, they also they create employment. We don't create so far over 1,200 jobs with young people then where they go and collect dirty na the streets. And now we get 90 more where they come on stream. So I'm so happy because it increased the capacity for collect dirty. At the same time, it increased the number of people them, young people that we get work. Let not talk and not talk about the transfer station. When I did the dirty, then they go. So we don't get 4 additional ones, including the one at Lumley, the one at Approved School, the one at Shell, and the one at Allentown. Bele Uman them. Then they all over our community. That journey for going to PCMH, it can challenge both of them. So with the work for upgrade, 5 of we page use them for make them be monk, side with side belle woman, the able for born. Freetown people, them boku people that know say dog na challenge na this city. And so we don't start a program for sterilize, vaccinate the dogs them so that we go get control over dogs and we the ambog motaman, but we the ambog themselves. We go make we city healthier and it go reduce the risk for let people then get us sick with and call rabies. I don't share small about wait we don't do. And over these 3 years, but I just touch the Tinem Boku. I go say anybody want for no more. Also go now with Facebook page. We get Freetown City Council Facebook page. We also get Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. You go able for follow we. Let we continue for work together with all we stakeholders for let collectively we transform Freetown. Una, thank you and God bless you.
Na Yvonne, talk and go, talk and come.
Hello, Fambulem Ona. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and good night, depending on whose parts na the dunya we find yourself. Welcome to CRGM Media. We Tuesday program. Today we get the big discussion / zooming in. Welcome. And if you did join me for the first time, we say welcome, kushe, wherever you are. And we hope say you go stay between at this platform and you go get some form of information where go serve as education, awareness, and you have great opportunity for share with we whatever now your aspirations and things. So you think about whatever topic we discuss. You within at the YouTube as well. I'll say hello, how are you all? Me not can get chance for see una chat them that much in real time, but obviously we co-moderator and the man we can crack the whip, they with una always they keep we updated. Me una host, if you just join me for the first time, Mina Jumaba, and this is CRGM Media. Here we say African stories told by Africans where they discuss every issue. And we respect people and views. The only thing we beg you, if you're a newcomer and you don't always deny, is that be respectful, respect to guests their views and opinions, and respect your colleagues that are in the chat group as well. That's all we ask for. The rest, you can be as passionate as you are. You can disagree, we will disagree for agree. So let we get the conversation and keep it going. I'll welcome Mr. T-Boy Duba, my co-moderator, for say hello and kushe to una all. And then I go ask him for, tell me what they expect. We're not going to introduce the topic yet, so now, of course, I don't see. Today, I think so. Therefore, even bring Femi come earlier in the, in the introduction as well. Like one balance, but we agree. T-Boy, welcome to today's program. And tell me Fambule Madu.
Hi, Fambule Nakusha Nakawa, welcome once more to another edition of the Big Salon Debates. Well, you're not calling the Big Salon Debates for nothing, so not for watching and see what's happening today on this discussion. Well, like I Juma say, I think 2 minutes before you introduced me, I don't begin catch cold already. Can you just sneeze right now for the past 2 minutes? Well, anyway, now the weather. As the weather they change, everything has to change. body frame they change, everything else they change in the way. So basically the weather and they control the atmosphere right now, just like O2 they can talk about today. Not only the weather they control the atmosphere of that day, but now the age they control the actual atmosphere of the individuals on that particular one. So yeah, sit, relax, and watch and be civil. Civil. Not civil season no more, so they can talk about that kind of here. So no doubt. Some of you get background wealth of knowledge.
Chai. Make me have some cuts, T-boy.
Not just one for ticklish people in the work, just one anger. They can't anger for long. So today, finally.
Yeah, for can.
Who get Juma Bowen are the senior experts. And then, of course, Mr. Amilka, electrical expert, all things. That back seven at back with the veteran. But anyway, when I watch a single thing that happened today, because we have a very interesting program. Very interesting, controversial. Sometimes it is very much not talked about within our community.
Personal,
and also something where people can be very uncomfortable for discuss, regardless whether you're a man, woman, Peking, or male, female, or any kind of gender where you belong to. So we therefore become open up to some of them discussions because it affects we, parents them, Peking them, brothers them, sisters them, because everybody they see them differently, and everybody they respond to them differently, and everybody they look at them differently. So that's why sometimes it's necessary to hold some of these discussions, because now a taboo, if we go back to the cultural practices, some of the cultural practices here to maintain them, some also for try and open them up a little bit so that people then go for be very comfortable for discussing, because it help for develop the community a bit more than we just sit down and don't get involved in some of them discussions there. So we can be very instrumental. So even some parents, then when a male parent, they will look after their picking in some way. Sometimes,
well, I'm happy to say T-Boy get experience already as a state, and
really?
So again, for make my job a lot easier today. I was a little bit.
You just see the expert doctor. Of course, I make that day.
Yeah,
the warrior.
Mr. Seven, we don't begin catch cold. I want for take excuse today, take back, but now I don't feel comfortable. Watch you there for guide the process as well with we guests. And we will bring Mr. Obafemi Amilka Palmer, who will also be as Mr. Femi Palmer. We technical director. Let's say hello to now because we all get for join this conversation. So if you just join me for the first time, it will be nice to see who Femi Palmer is if you don't know him. Femi, hello.
Hello, Juma. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
I hope our friends on Facebook and YouTube can hear me.
Loud and clear.
Tibona for make I know if not. So I'd like to welcome everybody. I'd like to welcome our guests here today. I go left Juma for making do the introduction, but I go like for welcome all we new time followers and all we old time followers them, because without you guys we would not be here. So thank you for joining us week after week after week after week. One thing they ask you, if you're following us on Facebook, like our page, share it to other people. If you're following us on YouTube, like our page again, subscribe if you can, and share it with others. So we can get other people in for listen to we and learn. Because today me a kaya so for learn. I'm not going to talk about the experts today, so I want you to get for say, because yes, I've got a wife and I've got a daughter, so it go fine for make I know how for the deal with the situation also. So for now, I left unto you, Juma.
Thank you so much, Femi, and obviously today will be educative, informative, and a process where we all go learn from. And hopefully, if we have time, we might open the phone line as well. So now get opportunity for ask we guest questions. So it will be more interactive, not so one-way street, one for make a two-way street conversation. As we say, we topic today, we say, now for can't talk about menstrual hygiene. And what prompts this conversation? Possibly, if you're not aware, May 28th every year, the world is celebrating what's Menstrual Hygiene Day, across the world, not to just Salon, not to just Africa, but the whole world. So the theme where they get for this year, action and investments in menstrual hygiene and health. Action, investment in menstrual hygiene and health. So that might have been the theme for this year. Of course, you ask why we do today, June 1st. Obviously, not the week. We're able to pack everything inside the same day. So, and we believe it's an opportunity for all for Kalan. And the celebration, of course, now for provoke conversation, let people able to talk just like how they can do so today. And we educate ourselves. And in the process, empower women and girls to manage their menstrual hygiene. So now that's not the purpose of the conversation. So now we're open up. And me not sabio, but according to experts, they say the average, what you call an interval of a menstrual cycle is 28 days. Okay, I don't learn something new today, but possibly I will learn and do my family life education course in school, but not be taken serious because I've been facing some time, just get for do with women, them talking about it, not knowing that, it involves we all, And so because of that 28 days, then I make them choose the 28th of the month of May, for celebrate them. And of course, then say the average, menstrual, what you call them now, or period of 5 days. That's the average, plus minus for some people, but that's the average. So now make them choose the 5th month of the year and the 28th day. So now so then come about May 28th every year for celebrate. So we can't talk to guests today. We not qualify for talk about this issue. And we get somebody we for be proud of as Sierra Leoneans, something we will guide me here because I know I'm for lie at all. We get for be proud of this person as a Sierra Leonean. We call her, they call her Mrs. Tina Davies. Mrs. Tina Davies, but not to a name that they get big title OBE. OBE, where this are the Queen of England. And go get that pin and recognize them for the work where it all work in service to humanity, in work where it all work na salon and within the health sector. Mrs. Tina Davies, na a reproductive health expert, and it gets serious background, in child protection issue, fertility, breast cancer, care for women, and also now somebody who believe in women's empowerment, and she's a psychosocial expert as well. And I know everything what they do, get them trauma issues, them way something they take seriously, but the psychosocial part of it, she's an expert. Where I believe say in what we do. Been very instrumental during the Ebola Temna Salon and also during this COVID as well. So she's been very, very helpful to our community. We want to say thank you. And she's also a humanitarian. We instead of doing your work there, they ask anybody, they want recognition. Want for let even know self-say na Indram. So involving a lot of things then for push Salon go before and push humanity. So Madam Tina Davies, welcome to CRGM Media again for the second time. I think we had you here some time back. We can talk about cancer issues then. Welcome to CRGM Media. I'll get you.
Thank you, and thanks for having me for this very touching subject. Where I'm glad to say na so Monday we get so because all man business na all man business. Because if lot of you picking na you woman na you sister. So I hope some people out there will go listen. If they get questions for us, they're welcome for us. As soon as I say, we'll do everything respectfully, and I'll try for giving as much answers as possible, basically.
All right, thank you so much. So I want you keep remind them at ease first. Let we feel comfortable with demand them. But this topic, you say menstrual hygiene, and health, of course, around the theme, we'll just read out. Do a small opening for we let we feel comfortable and let we just give a little bit background so we'll be ask questions them now. And if there's a barrier to a question where you think so enough for ask, let us know as well.
No, nothing's any barrier to any question where we're not for ask. But like the Menstrual Hygiene Day since 2014, and they realize say, well, people that globally for they celebrate this day, especially in them African countries or low-income countries, and they know the issues the way they out there. Where they talk about not just the menstruation, but the aspect rego, even the taboos Because I don't see right now, because I feel so, because no, a man not for talk about that. There is a lot of myth and misconception around menstruation and plenty taboo with it. But for it, we know say, mean that enough for any hindrance for support anybody around you or for understand what your partner or you begin to go through. Because knowledge is power. If the girl child don't get this knowledge, women don't get this knowledge, then go know how to deal with the hygiene or the menstrual hygiene issues. And when they talk about menstrual hygiene issues, not to just the period where people that they bleed, like a whole aspect of it. So I will likely all man sort of listen to this program. There is no shame about it because a lot of people in there they can shame because of this taboo. When they try to break the silence. Some people in there that they suffer in silence during their menstruation. They don't answer anybody because they feel they will laugh them. So there are a lot of things where they on the floor today we will discuss. But I'll let you for steer the ship and I'm there for support.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Tina Davies. You say, obviously, it's not just about, that 28 days cycle or, 5 days, 7 days, 3 days, whatever days, depending on the person. But you say a whole thing. And I see, we mentioned the hygiene part, the hygiene management, supplies, and infrastructure. So tell me how that one day relates, because like you say, all man go just feel, okay, now just this particular period is done. But what's in the around then 3 areas then they will talk about? Menstrual hygiene management, what's in that they mean, supplies and infrastructure, and how it relates to conversation.
Okay. Before I go through then are the pillars then. There are 3 pillars in menstrual hygiene health. But before I get to the pillars, Boku Umande, even the big one, then lots of them small people, lots of the girl child, even women not actually understand the cycle. They just know something. So for the woman, they know. So when they say cycle, it's like the process where they plan it, they go round, way from day 1 to day 7, where you bleed from day 7, day 8 to day 14, where the ovulatory period, then tell them your body don't begin come back to. Then tell them the woman they want one born picking in fertility. They don't well ovulate, so it will say they will get periods. But the way you don't get that cycle, you get a chart. You put and say me period, they start today the 1st of June. So by even before, say in May 28th or so, you don't plan, you don't get your supplies. You plan everything. That they come by accident. See some people something they didn't have transport where they grab. You don't see something because they don't know it will happen. It's all, now Boy Scout business or soldier business. They get for you prepared we can to that. Otherwise, embarrassment would be. Yes. So the days 1 to 7 with the menstruation, they 8 to 11 the follicular phase, then there's 12 to 17 ovulation. So after the ovulation, then you go back to the cycle. So by the time you're done, so you can begin plan back for the next cycle. But for come back to what they talk about, where they ask about the phases, we talk about the supplies, infrastructure, and education. Because we talk about supplies, we know that, yes, menstruation, the first thing that comes to mind are sanitary pads. And yes, they are needed, absolutely. Then you have to think about if the person gets pain where they menstruate. If not the old paracetamol, we will take the painkillers, you're supposed to forget them. If not the soap, the flannel, the small towel we will take for clean insect and all that in there, you don't forget them. Then we'll come to the infrastructure. We will talk about wash. You get a private area or confidential area outside, you go change your pad, especially if you're in a school, they get water for wash their hand. If not, particularly in a culture, they use water for clean themselves, they use water for clean themselves. So that is very important. Then the knowledge, where they tell we now when they talk about waiting on menstruation, how you for look after yourself in puberty, the little aspects then will come into that. All of them they will get for look at. Then as we talk about the myths and misconceptions, the taboos, where they make, there are some religious aspects as well, where they hinder women from doing what thing they're supposed to do. And infrastructure, not just schools, because they talk about women and girls, even in marketplaces. We say the market, women get a clean place for go, change themselves, clean themselves, and get back on their for their business. Because if they come out all the time for go back, the markets will suffer. At least once a month, we're not going to post around it. So make sure so then they close by for support them for carrying on their activities.
You know, he said it is like a Boy Scout and soldier business. So that means, not to that short period, so the whole month, if you don't begin the warm up, say, okay, this is get for happen back now, a routine where they happen. But what do I want to ask? It happen the same time for all women and girl picking their way, don't begin experience them, or, you know, different, and also, you talk about pain, paracetamol, and all that. Some people, you know, like Kweti Boy say earlier, these are things you don't talk about because you see people uncomfortable, you know, you set him out in a corner, they want to cry and all them things, and but we don't know what they go through. We just they assume, say, this I get bad day today, you know, and explain to me some of the things here, so because it's important that we know.
Yes, and not every picking, people they start in period, they picking from age 9 to 12, they go on get their first period. But you will see a 9-year-old picking, we don't start in period, a 12-year-old will not start it because the developmental thing, the hormones are different. People, they start off early. They get early beginners and waiting. The only things at the end as well, the one they will see them period early, then they get early menopause. Then they will start late, so they get late menopause because not just the, you know, the process where everybody they go through differently. You they see a 9-year-old where we don't come out, you get 12-year-old where now it's goes on and then they go fast. So all the differences that you can see, say, now school, the one that we all pass the small one, we don't begin seeing period, you know, they get, you know, they begin wonder what's wrong with them. They begin provoking themselves in school, you know. But then for no say, not just the hormones, people that develop differently at different stages. All man they develop, you know, at the same time. Like anything else, life looks like this. All man get your start point and your end point. So now that's the need for law. If you copy but we don't come out early, if you say, me a big pastor, then you're not going to something wrong with me. No. And if we don't even start the period stuff, so woman in there, they see the period maybe once every 2-3 months. That's what every month they say. Because they get something they call polycystic ovaries. If you get polycystic ovaries, they don't get affected. You don't get regular periods. And like some man can say, 2-3 months are not seeing the period, but not get belly. Because the polycystic ovaries we get, and they get with if you don't meet 3 of the criteria, then if they get if you're obese, if you get hair follicles, then with the polycystic ovaries when upon ultrasound is then they go tell you say you get polycystic ovary syndrome. But not go tell you say you get the syndrome if you don't meet them 3 criteria. Now there's someone that will end up for, you know, go for fertility treatment, you can only ovulate and they get regular periods and everything. But I think so we'll keep planning for other day, otherwise it gets too much. But when it comes to these supplies, we get 2 types of pads. We get the disposable ones and the reusable ones. Disposable ones that they give, again, it's costly. I know it's not cost efficient, but it's costly. And when we look at that, we don't know about the sustainability of it. But another one that they call reusable one, where we remember they use so they call pieces. But now there is this posh pieces where it gets wings, you know, and a lot of people they produce that. Where if the king gets like 2 sets, it will last them for 6 months. And the posh pieces, what you do, you get for wash them, dry them, and iron them. If flat, it get wings, it go in the panty just like the disposable ones. Then we'll talk about the pain and all that thing. Then what they will do, we'll come to the remedies.
Right. So let's go back to this, you know, this supplies part of it, the pad and, you know, the posh pieces. You know, we talk now, 2 things, they come to mind, yeah? The pad, then, for example, I take Sierra Leone as a case in point. These are things where, for even go buy and force. Again, your own ceremony then force where people again for go buy. Some man they afraid for go for, some man they shame, so woman they shame for go buy. For example, because sometimes the person go meet behind the counter, now the pharmacy side they go for go buy. Now man nine they sell. So obviously going there to go buy, it is this man don't know me business, or then people are wait him up, then don't already know me business. That's one. Secondly, T-boy, you don't ever go buy for Madam ever one day they don't ever send you for go buy?
Okay, you know you want me to talk to me. Talk
No, I ask you first. Then me say then go.
No, you talk you know.
Yeah. No, but I just
well, one thing where Boku man can feel uncomfortable for buy. Sometimes it depends on the mood anyway. Sometimes I don't feel, sometimes I do. It depends. But I can say most times many men feel uncomfortable to do it. And it depends on which kind of mood me can be personally. But sometimes, I sometimes just don't feel like, not to say that just deliberately. Again, it depends on the request. Sometimes people request to you like, you have to. You have to go get the bath. I'm like, okay. What if I say no? So basically, you get a mixed feelings on that. But on a very serious note, you can look at the nature of the person, if now your partner, if now your sister, if now you anything, and then you can able to determine whether yes, it is likely possible for me to go get this for this person because there is no way she'll be able to go and get it herself because she's in pain or she can't walk or she's going through some amount of pain. So basically, let me say that's not to 110% answer I will give you. I'm being very honest.
You know, whether you don't ever, then at that situation we begin for go by.
Oh yeah, many times. And there are times when I say no, but I still go and do it because I can just want to see the reaction and see, okay, what if I say no?
Well, me experience before I let Tina.
And sometimes then they only to run someone.
I know, yes. Before I go to Tina, my experience going to buy those. The first day they asked me for go buy, and I begin sweat first. Because they begin member for go when you go to the pharmacy or the shopping mall, you don't go for go buy this thing. Where they can at the counter for can begin pull and for let them check and before I make Alec self-service till them where then I also the experience now self-service till nobody know me business I go and swipe. But the major problem I been get they send me for go but I don't know say them I get different sizes them or different texture or different make. So I spend over 2 hours now the place first they pan check my small aisle, now a pharmacy like a CVS, 2 hours they pan first. I don't want for call
Me I sabi all the brand them guy.
See, I don't want for call back for big acts, that not look stupid. So and me 70 parts, but how you go ask the shop help, so it's an interesting thing. But over
now two things the way man can feel uncomfortable for by that now one, the second one a condom. But the issue make the tampon, tampons, all the other different names them. Sometimes it's easy. So as a man, you look at what your partner they use and making all your mind you. So basically, you just mark the color because they're in different colors with the boxes there.
But that's everything I end up do. I go buy supplies them. I buy big one first, then I buy different one because I not just want go back for saying the wrong way I buy. Worker is like, what are you doing? They can't be supermarket now, so for supermarket. But I had to do that. Over time, I begin get the education they're waiting for go by or not. So Tina, over to you. I just want to let you know some of the constraints there is sometimes some of we don't go through with some of them.
Well, Juma, I think say the shame and stigma. Now I don't explain so. Because we don't think say the stigma and shame of menstruation. That motion, what T-boy say, it depends on the nature of the person. Now, the relationship you get with your partner. Because when I get a good relationship, they feel uncomfortable at all for go by. If you get a good relationship with your daughter, they feel, uncomfortable. And make us say a lot of single parents today, when I'm man them, when they get girl picking them, where they raise by themselves. And I therefore deal with all of this with them for support them. So there is no shame in it. It not just means in a woman business or a woman I for talk to her. And also typically in Africa, you will say, okay, no, if anyone auntie will go talk to you about menstruation. But everything is there. The cycle, they get the apps and now where they show them picking them when they for start the period and when they're waiting. So it even sort of give them a gist or a hint for when the period, for come. So that they know the internet. But we need for ensure the woman they maintain their dignity and not for be stigmatized and waiting period, because of these mood swings or this or that during menstruation. They say, but it's too shameful for talk about it. It's not. That's the other thing that they were more shameful than that. Where people they get away with. So why should there be? So therefore empower women and girls for getting supply, for make sure they get the right infrastructure and the right education for supporting through their menstrual cycle or through the periods where they menstruate for.
So let's go back to this thing about the different supplies. You talk about the posh pieces, then with this thing, and you mentioned something about cost. Okay, so for example, let me ask for if they buy the pad them who can go buy. Okay, so almost average way one person forgets for a particular cycle or particular term, like almost you get quantity where you go say, okay, now this you for budget for, I try for imagine like salon, for example, now. So now that's in terms of cost implication first. Then after that, now we can begin talk about water, because you get for balancer. If you talk about the posh pieces, you only need 2 for this period. How about water for clean arm and all of those things?
Well, first of all, not a one size fit all.
Okay.
Some people they bleed heavily. So they go for change them pads, if not the disposable ones, they go for change them pads them for maybe 2 pieces for day. And it depends if not the heavyweight absorbing ones that they use or the light ones. So now that's the possible you can therefore know which one fits you. Because if you're not just a very light, bleeder, then you get heavy pad where put to make you feel so uncomfortable. If not until line and almost a man can put away them really lightweight one, so it's all individual thing, really little one size fit all. Then with the posh pieces, where they call the reusable sanitary towels, again, the way that they do them now, you get your purse and everything, you go still change if not school, because you go still change in a school. You change, you put some, grab on your plastic, put on the purse, when you go home, you soak them, you wash them. And with that, for me, I know you don't count to the wash aspect, when the water and sanitation. If for ensure say water also just for wash the reusable sanitary towels, but how they will even do the personal hygiene. Because that's just that's the personal hygiene you get for wash, clean. So picking up the every hour, they're supposed for change the sanitary pads or they would say no. You go there with 24 hours. Once they bleed heavily, you will use the same pad. And you use it once where if you say in terms of sustainability, in more ways in the rural areas and all, for wash them, hang them, nasan, iron them, it is flat back where you're ready for use them, it just go in your pants like any other disposable sanitary pads. But the disposable ones, the issue with them is that the disposal, as I said, disposable, how you get rid of the used ones? Because the infrastructure all come in. How you get rid of them? They go take them, you throw them, just by the compound, or wrap on a paper, go far, you go put some. The same dog where they are also don't see you go put some. Then they smell and are blood. By the time you turn, you go see I didn't have the water hand that they go and come back to you. It's happened a lot. So how they for dispose of them very important. If not like burning pieces, if not old and dig, put it and also dog no go inside your waiting, then dispose of them. But even at that, then go for wrap them well. Waiting they get what they call toxic shock. If you don't tie that pad on side, dispose of them well. Somebody take a small picking take and is try for smell them. The whiff along with it like your face, if for making if for knock you out. So then the information in it is very important for many people that know, or for many people that know say, well, not just for use the pad, how you dispose of them is very important. Otherwise, you don't know where person they use that pad, people that they born there with different disease, we don't know, and we're contagious. The dog take them, they pass it on, other person go touch them, other people go all and they play with them. We're not waiting like that. Now, so he said, we're not forget sick, like even like HIV or all anything if they get caught in the hand. So we get from really depending on the environment, we get 2 issues there. We get the sustainability and the cost and the disposal. Because I get the health business come there. Right. With the wash, obviously, washing their hands. And we also picking a day in puberty. That's where, you know, video school, they talk about BO, so man just talk about, no, the body odor. It is not like, they wash. But yes, they wash, but just up to that puberty, that smell we picking them, they get, girl picking them. Now make people say, oh, for use roll-on, and we say, but who say you know get roll-on? They can use lem. Traditionally, they use lem for cleaning stuff and pit and all instead of cleaning. And there is no shame. No shame in that. Because now the way you just start, now you're at the beginning, the process of womanhood. Now,
so
I see you blow candle.
Yeah. We go come back to this wash aspect and the sustainability versus managing and disposing of this thing, because obviously I don't want to make comparison to something we not relate to with topic, but which you mentioned, so relatable to Pampers. We say a lot of people prefer for use Pampers now rather than nappy for the picking they will be getting before. Take go to the next end the dog then don't carry it out, just take it to where now one corner. And obviously I think the same is happening with the pad them.
Yes.
Even in Western countries where they get other places there for disposal, some people just careless. You can just take it to the normal trash can where people in the frown about. So obviously then they put notice for say don't do this here. But before we come back, we talk the stigma part, okay? And initially you talk about the having an area, side the privacy and all of those things for the kids in school. Of course, they use communal toilets. Sometimes on school days, sometimes I want you get for both, like mixed schools for both girls and boys. That are one. Then secondly, for homes as well, you have a communal living where sometimes I one room or one room in pala, na de papa de, mama de, brother, sister, all of those things. In as much as I know, say there are times where we give respect to the woman them or the girls the way they want for change, then we say una come on, I don't put lapa and all that thing. But how these dynamics they play in terms of the education for let people understand more, starts in terms then if they see this picking, they come quick, say one for can't change and all that, say una come on, I do. We can be resistant with the boy picking them.
So for me, where possible, if they get other room them, elect na almost girl picking, then they share. Because of the privacy dynamics on certain days, you notice where picking they reach some kind of age, like they sleep with him water them. Now, where they reach some kind of age, they don't begin, same periodic semester, then it will begin sleep with other women. So then you're not going to be uncomfortable. And again, if they use the posh pieces as I can call them, the reusable ones, where they can wash them, because of this myth, because of the stigma and shame, that they hide that for people that don't even know they're on in period. And if you just wash them, you put them under the bed, in all dry fine, it sort of grows some kind of microorganism or bacteria around. And when you wear them back, it will introduce infection to the picking. Now, like you want to say, also I go pull infection, this and that, they don't actually know saying that through them way they get the infection. So the people around the education, yes, we know about cultural barriers or religious barriers, but where possible, now school and even with communities, they're supposed to get this conversation for supporting picking us. Because some people, they like myself now, a typical example, when I start my period, it was so painful. Throughout, I'm not even going to say that because I get endometriosis. We they not get way for do like well, I know it's not get way for do one, but it's not common for do a diagnostic laparoscopy for still they cause all in pain. So people that they grab, they get other, reproductive health or gynae problems we don't know about. Where they get so much pain. So man, they bleed a lot. So man, they bleed, that they want to say, this picking, I don't know if say it changed the last one and this month. But they say no, they don't assume say the picking get already. But now because of the polycystic ovary where you get, it's not normal for the menses every month. Maybe not every 3 months, every 2 months, they get periods. And even that's safe. You see some woman back way, they're not on the period, but they bleed. Maybe not fibroid, if they get degenerative fibroids and everything, some might say that is in fall. You go see 1 minute, they can get belly, next minute. Yes, they're on the menses, but they bleed. So boku reasons they for bleed or wait period, this is just pregnancy. So they're then we get for be, really aware of them. But the stigma, now we have to really therefore look at, even in workplaces, when you see woman can't see, they say, but they are low left land day, now that time of the month, it they up. The moon don't come out, people that they say all in so. And now where they stigmatize or trivialize within woman they go through. So until they get the knowledge and understand, then they will appreciate what woman they go through on daily basis. And not just any other woman, maybe them picking themselves, they will get the issue with that. They will say they're moody and wait to say, yes, they get mood swing during them period and day. But that don't mean still enough for take and slap on their face, say, now that time that I make it behave so. Now just the conversation around it and how we deal with them. Even in schools, they used to have what they call FLE, Family Life Education, where we all in this school we learn. And within that family life education lessons, they will talk about sexual health. During the sexual health conversation, menstruation conversation for come in. So people that get to know, because they talk about sexual health in school. Right. But talk about the menstruation, menstrual cycle. For picking, I'm not saying now we all sort of family planning methods and they were available to young picking them. But if not the natural cycle you go by, then your menstruation is very important for knowing your cycle. You know when you're safe and when you're not safe. So they're then discussions and they're really important for the carrier.
So I get some text messages and I'll count to T-Boy just now and Femi if they want to chip in or ask questions. But I get some text messages where they come through. Well, one of the thing is this, that, like we didn't say, part of the, I don't know if now misconception now, or taboo or misinformation, or this speaking so because you don't begin seeing period, like we mentioned, the 9 years versus the 12 years, so you don't begin do man business now make. Look at you small, at 9 years you don't begin, so you don't pass judgment already. And that speaking, they don't afraid, they don't panic and all that. Then somebody just text me, say that's why, because of the way people are not not get that much education, you don't know whether they ovulate or not. They say that's why some family they born plenty picking them, because they don't understand their cycle or when then they ovulate. So those are some of the questions or comments that we come. Then the other one are for me and T-Boy, will be the talk earlier. They say, but if we're not shame for buy condom, why not for shame for buy pad?
I like that. But Juma, one quick one.
Yes.
With the girl child, we know say traditionally again, we begin and you see them period early.
Mm-hmm.
They're not can get away for explaining, but it's like saying that now a passage to womanhood. Mm-hmm. Now because they're afraid say, okay, maybe speaking out so no can get Belena os.
Mm-hmm.
So what do they do? Now married business. So the child marriage in certain communities is so high because people don't begin for see in period. Mm-hmm. Because and also once you don't begin see in period, man touch on the wrong time they get belly. So the best thing is I forgot married and so man wants it. And that's not the answer. So the education very important. When they know say you will get your period, you get how you deal with it and not get pregnant, and you're going for reach potential. But if the period that signal say this people don't begin big but we don't come out for marry them, then what's the future for this begin? It will be a mother of how many? Right. Where is the empowerment? Because the knowledge is power. When they get the knowledge and know what for do, they know say, okay, not means that because I don't begin seeing a period, I send that for begin to mommy and daddy business. So for the getting conversation, you have to picking them for me they understand. Otherwise, if we not teach them, we not talk to them, treat will teach them. And when they go teach them, other thing they will tell, they will show them. We will not go let.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Tina Fambulawede. Listening, Madam Tina Davies, Obi. They talk to we about menstrual hygiene and health. We for do it with women and picking them, and obviously we the man themselves get for learn for make sure say we able for manage the situation. We talk about the different pillars them here, supplies, the management, as well as the infrastructure, as well as the education part of it. So. Femi and T-Boy, I don't know that one for go pause if I get question or how the chat group they look, both on YouTube and Facebook.
There's one thing where I just want to make reference to. I know some people then they say it's good for men to be educated in terms of knowing about these issues, especially if they look after the girl child. Well, as we all know, the situation in the diaspora and even in Sierra Leone now is quite different from looking after a female child. So I will not personally say it is ideal, because at the end of the day, dealing with a female child really underage, or we just begin seeing PVC, or we just begin seeing menstruation period, I think it's more challenging for man for deal with that situation there at some point. So I would advise maybe that man figure they will possibly get some female person with that around for maybe assist in some ways. But say in this day and age, the kind of world they, I personally will not feel comfortable to do that. So I don't know whether men will be comfortable to do that out there, but I'm just speaking for myself. But when it comes to the adult side of things, I think it's relevant for me to be able to understand, say, there is a lot of support where I feel say man can give to their partners there. Mickey always say, if the very first 10 weeks on table, say, oh, maybe that, I can ask my APC rally first, because you want to clear the points before you begin going inside.
You see the expert not shaking for you, so you're coming.
Well, it's just a way of saying, not to be blunt at some points. I can ask, no APC rally. What's APC rally? I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but now for just break the ice, for make say, I am comfortable to talk about this. And
no, you're trivializing the issue, not comfortable about talking about it. You're trivializing it. It's not APC rally,
Well, again, there are so many ways I can reach out to different things in terms of how you communicate them. Yes, you can communicate in that way and mean bad, and make the person feel bad. But there are times when I think...
how Ingo recommend as part of the education, what would be a best way for us to communicate that with our partners or show concern if we begin complaining some signs and symptoms? And what would be your recommendation? From an we're not going to trivialize them, or we not show too much care.
First of all, you forget a good relationship, a good communication with your partner. Because if you don't get to them as a basis, there is no way you're going to get that conversation. Because the female partner will always think I'm wrong. So what's making you ask me? But when I get a good communication, a good relationship, then you can ask anything. Now you will even notice, say, oh, babes, you look like, say, you don't feel well with it. Something like they demand that they even know the woman is psycho past the woman herself, because they pay attention.
How so?
Because you don't know. If you don't live with somebody, when a day you don't know. So we subconsciously or unconsciously they get to you say they can't.
Well,
before that 10 days, then just in case you wanted them to trust you before that 10 days, they can't,
for next month,
exactly. So you get for no answer, but we account to even the myth and misconception. Because people can talk say where like when they say APC rally, you can't get your leg over. Now no get sex because you did. Obviously it's gonna be messy, but there is no rule, there is no nothing that happen if you get sex during menstruation. Absolutely not. Now it's just a personal choice people that they make, but there is no rule that you cannot.
Okay. Well, this now that one.
So Tina, you just say APC rally is okay because you said don't use that just no.
No, now I quote you.
You quote you. According to Timo.
Not quote you. Not quote you. That in our pretend right now. Not quote you. No, on a very serious note, I think one of the ways at which you came for when you say most men can know the time when the woman menstruation don't reach. One of the easiest way to me for you to communicate now. Sometimes either in the beginning of the month, middle of the month, or the end of the month. It depends on the person in your cycle. So majority likely can be in the middle, in the beginning or at the end. So say that next week you got one touchdown man, if you can give elbow, no say no one else on 10, and then you check straight, end of the month. Okay, no problem, I understand. So it's happened anyway. Now different conversations straight away. The conversation won't change. But I totally agree with the point where they make say, you therefore get a very comfortable communication skills with your partner for make things become very easy. But again, it depends how open both parties are. Sometimes you can even deal with your partner for years, but you still not get that comfortable discussion with them because sometimes one of the partners not feel too comfortable for talk about it. Sometimes it's difficult to break that ice, very difficult. So you have to find a way of doing it to make them very easy. But me, I don't see that like any difficult situation anyway. Like I say, if I have to do all the cleaning, all the washing, and all the rest of what it entails, why not? But you only have to come with some form of nice gesture. You don't have to compel it to say, "Oh, Papa, if you not go back, this, da, 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 da."
There is a but. There is a but there.
The only but is it has to be communicated well. I don't really see anything that is going to be dictated. It should not be a dictatorship thing anyway. It's not because you are within that period of. Sorry?
Not just that aspect. Nothing should be dictated.
Yeah, well, sure.
Even if na bread you go buy na shop, you will say, "Oh, you serve the city. Say, okay, this person here busy, I go buy bread." Or if I do something, I will say, "Oh, see boy, I beg you not go buy the bread can quick." You know, and nothing not there for be, you know, as I said, the communication.
Right.
Yeah.
When you get on right, everything else goes. Even with the girl picking, so like you say, now daddy and the girl picking them. When they rub near you, feel like in temperature, you know, say they can't get too clean here waiting. If you don't begin, you don't know stay in a period. You see, different ways in the day. The way that time you go talk, say, even say, "Oh, I know you're not keeping well. It might be this or might not. Let me do your hot water bottle for you." You know, because you let the pain and we say, "Get hot water bottle, you will feel comfortable." So these are all the little things that you can do for make things better.
Okay, Femi, over to you. Have a question or comment so far? I want to hear your inputs to this conversation, and then we'll get to see interesting things that happen at the chat group. Over to you, Femi.
Hi, Juma.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay, so we have, I'm going to talk for we listener them. We get some man listener that we can listen, we can, you know, not able for talk about because, you know, it's something in the shame for talk about topics like this. But we have a lot of men in our community with something in our sole parents. You know, sometimes mama don't, you know, don't go to next world, or mama injured or mama disabled or something like that. And then the man is the, you know, has to bring up young ladies. Obviously, you know, as far as I know, non-school not day, we day for go teach you how to be a parent, and possibly non-school not day, we go teach you how to be a parent or male parent to a girl. Or am I wrong? Is there such a place where they can educate people that we not get a clue we find themselves in you know, in a situation where they get for advice and be a mother to a young girl we just begin seeing period? Question to Tina.
Well, Femi, as you rightly say, no sign or day way that they will train you. But if you get, not an issue per se, if you get concerned, even if like Nayaso, you go to your GP, the practice nurse you go talk to. You get social worker where you go talk to. In Africa, we don't get all ends in it, but we get family. We family network. Now social services and support, or even the health. And now there's so much on the internet where you can look. We will get idea of what's in the goal. As you say, no textbook, not for sure how to be a good parent. Likewise, then you get for use initiative, but certain things and they were very sort of complicated. Get somebody where know you ask. Somebody they can get female friends then, but they will say, okay, how, you know, my daughter they go through so and so, are they suspecting at this and this? How you think that will go about them? Or if like a friend where you get really close to a mama or waiting. So we get all the resources here. So although it can look like Sena Congo and Bisabodina in Africa, because all money to all my business. But then this, you know, all money to all my business, there's a usefulness there. You will talk to a community person or family, where we must know. And now, as I say, past in village and now there's internet, there are a lot of things that people get for know. And in terms of the health side, then get healthcare workers, even the remote village self, they must get somebody there. There are women's groups in communities. These women's groups can help as well. Because the women's group, they call CAGs, but in our community advocacy. the way they support pregnant women and for take them going to health facilities. Then one day say they will talk to them. Then first them one day they call TBA and they use again traditional birth attendants. Then they in their community as well. They're able for support. For make you get a knowledge and for know how to deal with them as a man. Even women self, we don't understand what's in the go on. We have all of these support in the community.
Right. Thank you so much. There's one comment from the Facebook. We really capture me eye now. From Efwa Baba Richards. He say, the mention will be the talk about, the schools and the support system we just highlight. He say, what about schools making provisions for mentorship programs and also counselors for girls? Because it entails, meaning that menstruation entails a lot, and there's a lot of risk around menstruation. So I want to touch on that because obviously we see the thing about, distributing pads and all that thing, and they thinking, okay, as long as you don't get the pads, that's the end of. But, some of these support system at the school that we Efwa mentioned.
Yeah, Juma, the pad business, it's fantastic. They need it. Mm-hmm. But that's not the only, it's just one aspect of it. As we say, there are 3 pillars. And pillar 1, we can't to supply is not anymore the pad day. We can't to the wash, we can't to infrastructure, we can't to the other supplies like soap, if not painkillers. All of that, no, they're not for with the supplies. And how in schools, and for me, I want to see like where in schools that they get electric bucket water they get for ensure that there is water. Because we all know say running water, na lock na salon. As you get bows, we will come anything. The 3 town in the districts. Running water not just say it's a challenge.
Right.
But the ensure say soap the water. The picking and stuff if you say you're on the menses, if it's possible, if na bottle water you get. I know they say for be then bottle water. But if you get the bottle, you can put water in your bag. When you go to school, say when you don't change, you go wash your hand. Mm-hmm. That is very important. But the market manifests water for day because not just everywhere they talk about up to 2030, the ones who said for the investment in menstrual hygiene health, the menstrual management the challenges that don't reduce. But they would not if these resources and the infrastructure and the educational things and not only. Because the education is very important. The education, they empower the picking for you get the sanitary pad, yes, you get them. In terms of the disposal, we see for the water, they teach how for itself. The hygiene, how for look after themselves, they don't know how for look after themselves. Whether body odor don't start, per puberty, they don't know what it means. They don't know how to react. As a partner in party, then they begin to talk to BO, and kids are very cruel to each other. Mm. When you pass small, you begin to say, there was, it is smell, it is waiting. And when it comes to the taboos around menstruation, certain cultures, some people, they wash throughout the menstruation. You see? Yes, they're not they wash throughout with the menstruation, it's taboo. When they say they wanted the cultural things, say, if they cook draw soup, Femi, hear that, if they cook draw soup, if you did on your menstruation, for touch at all because you know go draw. If not upgrade they cook, you know go draw. If not tula, you know go draw.
So not two down there on a just
they're all meats. Not just meat. If you do on the period, they make ugly because they come out fine.
In a smell or come out fine.
It don't come out fine, Wow. If you do on the period, you're not going to do any sport activities. You just therefore choose which kind of sanitation or which kind of pad or absorbent you use. People use tampons. You can go, you go run, you go swim, you go whatever it is. You don't need to forget the big pad on. There are other things that we need to use. So most of them, in terms of Islam, and I believe say some part of Catholicism before, if you don't menses, you go church, they go mosque. Certain communities, certain ceremonies that they perform, they go there. Like certain cultures, if you think about like India or so, I did some research a while ago about menopause and women how they do it in different cultures. In India, when possible in menopause, the woman them now sign of respect and waiting. Now to you now that they can. Anything and the way woman they being sort of not supposed to be part of. Become part of them because they get a period again. Mm-hmm. You see? So the dignity where they and again, at the same man, the nanny that we talk say, it has a lot to do with men. You can't talk menstruation, menopause, all things they men panel. So it look like say man and they bring all this problem because the name
menstruation,
menopause. You see? And
so that means the balocam.
And they create all the kind of myth and waiting woman not for this, woman not for that, you know. So we just therefore understand. Certain cultural thing, yes, you have to respect it if you're in that society, but they are all just myths.
This is deep. So again, like you mentioned, I get a text message. We can't do the text. You say, just for the argument about men, that you don't get problems to do Timor radio. So the person say, it's in a social man, then they, as soon as the woman them, then they on them period, they're not even one for near them, talk to them, or even sleep near themselves. You don't complain and they boku.
Plenty.
Right. So this Timor, and they go soup way doing that. That same day, go soup that same day.
Papa, I don't know the difference between the soup cooking and the menstruation, but as far as me concerned, I think over the years, my partner don't cook all different type of soup. I don't go specifically tell you say during that period, yes, you don't cook okra or crane. We go make the okra and crane or do. Definitely that person knows how to cook okra and crane. Because if it's how to cook okra and crane, not only menstruation, you cook the okra and crane that you add and you eat and how you use the ingredients. It's the same format, it's the same pattern. I don't think that would change. But again, as you say, now myth, where everybody take on board and believe in that kind of thing. But you also look at some say sometimes there must be a reason, there must be a cultural reason for that myth. I'm just saying, hypothetically, not saying that is true or real, but it might be say sometimes because of they know for say when woman and they in that menstruation period at that particular time, something then go they bleed heavily. So the okra might be something we go slippery off, we go make them bleed more. I don't know. It's just maybe their own theory of saying don't do slippery stuff. Something that no one like you for them for making hinder yourself. Why should they prepare the okra? Something no one like you do the.
But just in case it's flying for the okra.
Sorry.
Just in case it's flying for the okra for them.
Well, in the process of you being in your period, sometimes you're physically not strong because you might not be too healthy physically, so you might sleep on the okra. Sometimes the okra go for them like gone, you don't know. Because of your health, that particular point in time,
but even for normal circumstances,
but there's a possibility to fall more if you get okra around you. I'm just saying this hypothetically.
I know, but period not to sickness. Again,
it isn't. Okay, so let me ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask one question. Just for that, what do we say? Period, not to sickness. Why woman can they take and make sickness at some point? If you say so.
Thank you so much. You don't just exhibit the stigma where they can talk about women, where they can make like sickness, because people are different.
Now the question what you say, now the question where you say period not to sickness, which now the thing where Bakuman they frown at. I am not saying I am, but I go guarantee you say 90% of the man then where they face woman with period. Now, like they say like a sickness because of the reaction of the woman. But when you make mention, say, period not to sickness, that's why I asked. Why do some women act like they are sick when they're on the period? If you don't say not to sickness.
Okay, some women, because waiting the way you're on the period, your breast is so tender. You don't even want to be touched. You get temperature, you just want to feel comfortable. I sure say, if this man has to know, say, it will just cuddle up with this woman. It will feel better. But again, with the man, them, minutes you cuddle up, now other thing. The brain waves don't send something else. Now
you see, I said, you see, the shirt up women and now we see.
Now that makes woman enough to feel, because all they need, they just comfort. They just need comfort, and then they'll be okay. If not pain, if not, all the waiting man they need for you, now for support the woman and through this process. You see? But not to sickness, because some people are in the period, they don't even know the percentage where they feel pain or waiting, not much. But even if you feel pain, that's why there are remedies. If you know, say you get heavy period, the period starts tomorrow, and they get pain. This net I don't take me paracetamol prophylactically. I know say when the pain begin, at least until they in the way for counteract them. So it's all, the knowledge and the management. They not become sickness. You have the exceptions where they will crawl and run, where they go waiting, they will breathe like they die tomorrow. Not all because they put them up. No, it's just their makeup. It's just how their own period they can.
Yeah.
And
so
there are very few, but period to sickness, generally speaking.
So it's clear for say no two people they experience not the same, because it will be easy for some man for say, but look, you copy, they go through the same thing, and I want to know area and they make noise. How comes one grain you ain't make now so like see the world they can end.
Absolutely. It's all like one picking.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
picking, they therefore deliver the picking, but the pain and waiting, now different experiences. No two experience not be the same.
Yes. F1 say some ladies just need that shoulder to lean on and cry on. So I do believe men should be educated more on it. Some men do. It's all about the care part of it. So that's F1 and for support that you statement. There was a question here. Oh, so Umu been to Kaba, they ask, he say, is it true that tampons can cause infection to some women?
No. I not say it don't say some women, but if you don't keep your tampon in, you forget to they don't need it for days and waiting. Obviously, begin itch, it will cause irritation, but tampon not cause any infection. But again, as we said, now make different sanitary pad or sanitary absorbent methods that we go use. If you notice that the tampon where they put in, not comfortable, not for you, you use the pad. So these are, you get choices. But tampons not make you get any kind of infection at all. And also, we'll be younger. Well, when you get exposed and we see people that feel that you're douching after your period, you douche, then you feel clean because in your mind say the past 5 days you've been dirty. That stuff is not advisable. You cannot douche because when you douche, I will say the vagina need natural bacteria.
So what
you don't douche. When the douche there they can do like stomach food that insects. Yeah, that's if you don't know. When you insert for like clean yourself.
We boku no, so I therefore ask.
You don't use them for clean yourself.
Okay.
Some people that feel after the period each time they go for use them, but when you don't change the natural pH of that environment, that acidity there everything, now you become prone to infection.
Yeah. Because again, women need enough bacteria to protect themselves. So basically, when you talk about douche, now some people use shower, as in to shower themselves right in, but sometimes it's wrong, as you clearly say.
You get too much experience, man.
Well, I talk again.
No, but that's good. That is good.
The reason being, I spend a lot of time around women, and not being nosy, I learn lots of these stuff around women, and sometimes it's good because I can be of help in so many different ways, and I have so many female friends, and also I was doing a lot of work regarding women back in the days, and I also work on the social health issues of women within our community. So most of these things are experiences that women have talked about whilst we were talking about things related to some of the issues that we don't do within our community related to sexual related illnesses and all that. Yeah. So obviously I'm quite knowledgeable in some of those areas, but sometimes it's an advantage as well.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Madam Tina Davies, I think it will be appropriate for us to open the phone line, and if you want to call, you can call and ask questions through the WhatsApp. The number to call would be +1 614 551 8694. We will type the question then so I go able to see. +1 614 551 8694 will be the number to call and ask your questions. Okay, this issue about the tampons don't generate some conversation here.
Okay.
I think you need to address let me see here. So Beatrice Thompson says tampons is the best if you have heavy flow. And there was another question. Is it okay? That'll be the first question. Then somebody comes say maybe individuals react to the materials of the tampons that na limon flores, I say that. Then, yeah, so that's a question. Then, of course, come back when I be asked the initial question, say, we saw many of our peers suffering infection, and after assessment, medics informed tampons are inappropriate for some women.
My point is tampons not a cause infection.
Okay.
Unless if the person already get the infection, where they insert the tampon, it push the infection further. But the tampon itself not cause any sort of infection at all. And when people that can get what they call PID, pelvic inflammation disease, you know, where most of the time it can be through sexual intercourse, and one of the STIs where you get. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at that point in time, you would not advise the person to use tampon.
Right.
Because just a mess about with the infection, but the tampon themselves don't cause infection.
Okay.
F1 is asking what are the favorable food to eat during menstrual period? Is there any specific type of food that you're supposed to be eating? Or?
No, some people they get sweet tooth when they're on your menses. Now just sweet thing they want for eat. Some people not tangy food they're waiting. So there is no prescribed food during the menses. Whatever you feel comfortable eating is what you stick to during that period, because you will be picky, you know, you just feel like the hormones are all over the place. The mood is, you know, all over the place. But wait till you feel comfortable with. Nobody know they prescribe saying this is for do. Now wait till you feel say you're able for tolerate during that period.
So would you advise tampon if somebody says, because it looks like generates some kind of discussion at the chat group, because Kefwe say I've been using tampon for 30 years of my life, but also it doesn't work for everyone. They cause toxic shock syndrome. What is that?
That's what the toxic shock I was talking about, where the way they keep the pads, the sanitary pads, you put them, dispose of them well, you put them just tie and left on your womb, it will begin smell and that whiff. And again, if they bleed heavily, then you therefore they change your tampons regularly. And so Monday you forget say the tampons they in. So if you forget say they in everything, now that's make the string where they on the tampon. It's very important. When you insert them, make sure say you able to touch the tip of the string, so you're able for pull them. But if you don't keep on there, you're not able for pull them. Begin fetches by done 1 day, 2 days. Obviously, you therefore begin feel like kind of shop pass, end up for go to a GP or something, or a nurse for me to remove them. So just make sure say how you insert them, make you left, be able to feel the tip. And the tip is the way you feel make it not too long. Because if it's too long where you urinate, it pass the day. If you go sit down at a toilet seat, now another sort of infection will be introduced to you. So all internet they have to be mindful.
Is it safe to use to drink hot water or cold water during menstruation period?
These are all the myths where I can talk about, say, one more time, they help you cold water. But if you feel comfortable, basically it's all sorts of comfort during that period. If you feel, say, cold water work for you, then stay with cold water. If you feel, say, hot water work for you, stay with hot water, but there is no prescription. The only thing is that they can always say, oh, if you're feeling a bit whatever, it's people that feel, say, hot water bottle, for instance, can help. For the English people, a cup of tea does it all. It solves every problem. Take a cup of tea, then you feel better, or hot water. So, but there is no prescription when it comes to that.
Okay. So let's stay on this tampon issue also, because it don't look like say don't be the 8 pound this case right now. Whilst we get for talk about the stigma. So somebody texts and say, but there's a stigma in the community too about tampons. And then say, if you're not virgin, you use tampons, you go lose your virginity. That's now one. Then another similar question asked now. So it say, thanks, Tina. Is it appropriate for virgins to use tampons? So now if we get girl picking them, do ya?
So again, virgin, first of all, the hymen, where they can cut, where they begin to run business. The south side they are quite rigid. A tampon where they put in gently, no go virginate that person, they are picking it. Because the tampon is soft and waiting. For me, you're able to virginate, that friction where they get intercourse, for touch the hymen some kind of way, now they make it break. Tampon where they insert gently, no, they do that.
So that's about get men panam hymen.
Exactly.
Oh God. Another men. Yes. See boy.
So yes, they can use them. although if you feel say if the person just don't begin in menstruation, for you actually understand, you will say, okay, know yourself first before you begin use that one day. Especially with the risk I don't talk about. If the string they out too long, if you left and long it hang, you sit on a toilet bowl and a source of infection. If you if you push them too much in, then you pull them, then another issue. So they therefore be comfortable and understand how to use them. But there is no saying that virgins shouldn't use tampons if that's what they feel comfortable with.
Okay. So for like a society and in Sierra Leone in particular, we talk about the posh pieces, but we not talk deep on them because I don't see that they don't gain momentum now the country. And in terms of cost, we know it's like money not easy right now, you know. What would you recommend if them, you know, I'm not saying about comfort, what people feel comfortable about, but in time we look at the majority. Is it good to go back to basics, you know, using now which they refer to as the posh pieces, or focus on this, what do you call it? The pad, then the sanitary pads and the other different kind of sanitary pads, including tampons?
Well, as you rightly say, it's an aspect of affluency, affordability, you know, and the supplies. Because if Piki, for instance, in a fetal, it get access to sanitary pads, it can afford them.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets the right disposal for them. Then by all means, may use disposable ones. If person the upline, not that affluent, you know, you know, get disposal, you know, get waiting, then let you use the reusable ones. The reusable ones, so that the posh pieces, so I can say, it's just like that. You get wings, just like the other, you know, part of you get wings, you get clip where you put, you get the absorbents, where you even remove it, there's a pouch where you put them back in. The only thing is that they need to know how to use it. When you don't done, if in a school you change, you turn you plastic, put on you cross, when you go home, you soak them, you wash them dry, hang up and iron them. For make sure say no bacteria not on them. But if you wash them, you iron them under the bed. Then bed the way can get a little rack by them. For the person not see them. Or you take a turn a corner, you know, when you're ready for wear and back. If you don't look at it and with speaking them as well, they will just take and put and not get they know they look them that much. They can maybe you go look something adults. And sure say they iron them. Because you iron them, whatever bacteria they want to kill them. Then you put them back in your pouch. When you're ready, you begin for use them. It's sustainable, it's cheaper, and it just makes them actually get from no. Because if person don't bleed heavily, you don't get clot or whatever it is. Honestly, when you wash you reusable pad, you must see and you must know. But with the pad now, so the disposable ones, they just take it, wrap it. But if you look at it, so you don't know whether you bleed well, waiting it happens to you, whether that clot you pass, waiting make you pass the clot or waiting. There is no real thing. Pass, you really conscious. Now that make you look at them. So for me, I wouldn't say not to use the disposable ones. If you can afford it, if it's accessible, and the disposal, the infrastructure there, then by all means. But where there is none of that, it's best for use the reusable ones. Otherwise, we're going to have, just the way you talk about the Pampers, we're going to have diapers, you're going to have sanitary towels all over the place. Dog will get on a remote, beginning they play with them, where they don't come, we're not even to where I'm fine at the dirty box, where breeze blow, do whatever it is, they find them back at the streets, then where we don't want that. Because waiting to hygienically, right, then health-wise, if possible, so that person gets some kind of, transmittable disease, where other person go play with. So all the internet there we get for be mindful and know how to deal with that. And we make sure to not prescribe, say now this for do, now that for do, but we'll just therefore explain, say, this is more good in this area than a more good in that area, then people would make their choices.
So at least you give people a variation, whatever you feel comfortable with and what you can afford, but at least there is something, for everyone, which is
available for everybody, yes.
Available and, safe to use as well. Okay, we don't pin the phone number, the WhatsApp number. If you feel comfortable calling and you want to ask questions, please do so. The WhatsApp number to call is +1 614 551 8694. You can call and ask a question. We want it to be as interactive as possible. And obviously, we serve the now, so they represent the man and because of human business don't come in. So menstruation, menopause. Now, waiting at the other one. Hey, man.
Amen, yes.
Yeah, amen. So you see, all things concerning man, so all the trouble the woman and they get a man and they cause them. I know say the Femi will come up just now if you get something. But now begin talk about the taboos them. I get one interesting story where we will post the flyer. Mm-hmm. Someone reach out and say, talk about the time. So it's now they can't talk about. How come so man they can't begin to talk about period business? It's now you. I say, well, get experts who just they ask questions. So I say, sometimes we have to talk about the taboos them and I say, hey, you say, let tell you something. Saying go travel, go salon, and they not traffic, place hot, they feel uncomfortable. You get what I they drink, so they drive so now the traffic police then stop her. The police then stop her. I tell her, I ask them for a license, they give them, and then ask them if they know if you know it to make them stop. And I say no, I say they drink water and drive. And I say yeah. Say then it waiting, it affects na safety risk. I say well, say the place hot. They say, and by the way, so I'm very uncomfortable. I say because I see me period. Now the police, is that the police only? And I say, hey, don't talk that word. They don't talk that word. For talk and then to man no more for talk and then they talk that word in a public. I say why? I say that me, I feel comfortable for talk about this here. So he says so. That's why I feel. I make I drink water. So if you want to arrest me, arrest me. So I just want to share that. Is there any crime for talk about that in public? For say the CP or the mess or whatever na the word way they use. I will say I share that and while should they talk about the taboos then.
So what's because I think the person probably very brave for just tell the traffic warden say, I don't on the period. Yeah. Because outside the drink water and the period can play for traffic business, I understand. Maybe just hot no more. If you say maybe you feel hotter, more than normal way on the period. So probably, she needed to tell him what was going on. Right. But as I say again, not just a cultural thing. And this conversation, not just where it comes to May 28th, we'll begin talking about menstrual hygiene. It should be an ongoing conversation for educate with beginner and women that even demanded for me to know. You see? Because we not get this conversation regularly. Now, one time, when you talk a calic breeze, blow it on. So people know they grasp them. And yes, that lady, they try to break the silence. Because there's a lot of silence, the shame and stigma around menstruation. She just feels that, okay, this is how I feel, I'm going to say it. And that's why she said it, the way she did it. So I'm not a full time, but I just feel say, maybe if you know sin, I want you to make the policeman just come up before and you let her go. So you talk down there, you just get out of the way because you know say there is so much taboo and waiting around it. They don't have to discuss them. Right. But that's what I remember I said by the time you can all this I said they arrest them because in the mind, because they're on a period, you look for say you get absorbing thing or whatever it is, do you have big, can pass blood now, so maybe go before. Yes, like come on, give me wood. Exactly. So I think she put the first one there. Not bad.
Okay. And you also believe say sometimes women use it to take some advantage at some point?
Well, I know the one with money, you talk, say, I'm washing my hair, that kind of thing, and they will say, oh, you get a headache, you wash your hair, you're on the period. With full length and the way you're younger, boys there around, and immediately I'm making touches and say, oh, I don't on the period. Because at the same of taboo, you get away with it. Yeah. But then, now we'll know, say, no science don't show anything, say, once you're on your period, you can't have sex. So I don't think say that they can walk in a certain circle if the person was that inclined. So I don't see how women they use it. If you man on your period, you don't know. They just tell you say they're on your period. If you're not in the pre-menstrual signs, then you say maybe go play them up because like Kenya, they're in that mood. It's different. But periods, you can't fake it.
No, but no, I think with tampon you can't still because at the end of the day, tampon is nothing that men see physically. Like where you go see sometimes a menstrual pad or anything. So basically, yes, women still take advantage at some point for saying, I don't have a period. And then if man asks, you want to show you? And some men will say, no, I don't see you.
Well, no, because first of all, when I get that conversation, the woman get forget that kind of rapport, I get forget that kind of relationship.
True. I agree.
So if you just forget fake and say you're on the period, when I get that kind of relationship, it's easy to find out. When I will call you, when I go wait till you go pass you and you go feel the string. You know?
But sometimes they say no. You want to show you? And sometimes men are scared to see. Oh, no, not show me.
But again,
to be honest,
I come back for
for
the same thing, depending on the relationship. Because if you get for reach that point, you get for proof point, you Allah show you at the panties. That means something is wrong somewhere.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You see.
Cases like something is wrong somewhere. Sometimes it's just the banter of discussion anyway for make things a bit more flexible, really. Yeah. Not to say there's something wrong somewhere, but mostly, well, I am not saying that is what women do, but some women in the way can take advantage. Say, for example, sometimes this man and say he don't eat the man money. Nobody can finish to man. They will specifically go and visit you when they're in their period because they know you can't touch them.
And you not like that.
Me?
I'm not
yes.
but the idea of it.
Oh yeah, men sometimes don't like it because as soon as you turn up and they also must say they're on the period, oh well, then they touch you. That's a taboo. So it's a no-go area for men in those days. I don't know for now, but like you clearly say, yes, you can still have sexual intercourse if you're on your menstruation period. There's nothing wrong with that. But still, many women will not do that. They will still say to you, no, I didn't you need to touch me. So again, some women take advantage of that. So I would say some of the controversies around it is a lot more to do with how women can use it as a decoy not to have sexual relationship with men that they don't really like. Sometimes it does happen.
Okay, so if you're in that situation, would you invade it?
Well, as you clearly say, yes, you can have sex with whilst you're still in your menstruation period. Why not? There's nothing wrong with that.
When you talk so, Umu just cry right to say me brother nowadays the man and the guy bad one. All right, before I go to Femi, Khalifa Kondo writes, he said, Tina, you need to take the education of menstruation further, not just for the girls, but to the parents as well. Keep the conversation going.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Femi is feeling hot. I see. Come on in. You want to say something? It's easy feeling hot.
No, I will ask Tina. Hold on a minute. Tina, what's the role of the male partner? You know, we married or get long-term relationships. We are equal partners in this journey. So, for that 28-day month day, when certain things happen to the woman, we're possibly I'm not going to say 50-50 partner, but we get quite a high percentage. People can ignore, say, oh, not a man business, but it is because throughout the month, you wait for your partner, they do all kinds of things together, and then for them this and the what is our role? Waiting at the responsibility which we do for support the our partners.
Thanks for that. I think you just have to be there. Be there in the sense that do nice things because of the mood swing and waiting at hormonal thing. Some people are very obvious. Some people are very obvious with them. Others, and they know. But just do something nice. Like when you say, even you just say, okay, box of chocolate, or you buy flowers, or just if now the woman can make breakfast in the morning, like just a cup of tea, make her a cup of tea. If now what water you normally use for the comfort of everything, make what water. Just show concern, as opposed to say because you're on the period, well, need not for going ourselves because better know the under. I sure say even though it's anyway not on the period, not to alter better day. So then 10 and day with you just try to be supportive for their back. It's similar to when women they go through the menopause. Where men they feel say woman they feel hot, I'm body it just get a mood swing, waiting. All they will think is that probably you they go off me or you they see somebody else. But it's just the hormones. That's what it does. So therefore understand what the woman they go through, because if you understand the whole concept, it not means say you have to go through like a tick box, they go through all of that. But at least one symptom they're going to go through, where you know, say, now you have in only so they go through, and you find a way for support them. You know the things that where you partner like. So just try for make them feel comfortable. Even with your child, if you girl child within a house and waiting, if you know to do that, and then so you can like now so you waiting. If now switch to it get or just those niceties goes a long way basically.
So let's go back to waiting T-Boy been to say earlier. Obviously these are all part of the conversation. So forget in as much as we, appeal to the man them, waiting we for do for support, because our support will we get mostly. But T-Boy possibly may be right that some women use this as a lot of other things. We call middle woman them. We will say, not joke with me, then tell me so. Are they mess right now? Are they waiting? This not the month, this or something like that. I'm not happy at all. Me ask the one, if you try me just now, way before we hear those kind of conversation. So how about in terms of communication? Because women themselves will get for talk to them, for educate, for say, there are better ways to communicate for let your partner understand, say, they have to be there for you.
Right. Again, as I say, the relationship, but with this one, it comes to the person personality as well.
Okay.
The education of menstruation where the person get the impersonality, all incidentally. Because if person get a calm personality, they know say, okay, where you go through your menses, now this is zero thing, now you go begin, react in such a way, find a way of coping. There are different coping strategies for everything, basically. So you find a coping strategy, and not only for threatening your partner, not for calm, because you drive them away every month in a day like that, where it's a certain cycle will go from where you ovulate to where you start your period. You're looking at 10 days or even 12 days of the day like that. You will make the man say for one away. Elect now buy go see don't buy, just for get away from you, if that's how you are. Some people then the mood swings can be really, really bad. It become like a clinical stuff. If it's clinical stuff, they will not seek help for that. Because again, it's a one size fits all. Some of them are just moderate, but there are some really during that period and day, it's tough for them, and they need that extra support.
Okay. There's a comment here from Batu Shamel. It says, "Great job, Tina. We need more fathers and brothers to get this information to give to their daughters and sisters. Hashtag break the taboo around menstruation." So that's just out there as well. I just read them out. If you have questions, you can call or type your questions. Let me see.
If I can come in, Juma, is it true that some women see their period on their palms? Is it true, or is it just one of the myths?
Huh?
Tina?
Like some women see their period on their palm. It's just that. But again, when you think about it, if you think about Black people, if we try to put it within context of resetting, it's very rare. Because see some people and their palm so red that it's like Caucasian or white people, when that way they signify, say, something is going on. Seeing on the palm doesn't mean that's only where they see it. Now just the redness of it, but they still get the period. So it's like a telltale, really. And some people with their skin complexion, the way they can look, again, it's just telling that something isn't right.
So it's just like a sign to say something is not right.
It's a sign,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I know wherever you done this, so you said I don't learn new one today. I mean that's a sign.
That only say the person watch man and palm them for see if they hear me.
No.
Well, there's a question here for you.
I go try this.
There's a question here for you, Tina.
Yeah.
Somebody saying, Amanatu saying, when I have my period, I'm always in a lot of pain. What causes that? And I can't. Can it disappear one day, or would I always have to go through that pain?
Right. With the pain, again, it depends. It varies. I don't want to say that a specific thing make depending. Because we know, say, premenstrual pain, sometimes it could be endometriosis. But you have to be diagnosed that you have it. Because most of the really bad, period pain, that's what causes it. All I can say is make sure, say, when you know you cycle, you take prophylaxis before your period starts. It does help. If you feel to trouble to go help, it will help. At times they can say, well, so you don't get a first speaking, and if you're not born it can help. After you don't get a child, it can help for reduce the pain. But again, it varies.
Okay. There was another contribution as well earlier where it came to the wash issue and the home. We're talking about the community, settings or community living. Lyman say it can be challenging though with the ways things are in typical homes and community settings. Majority of girls or women cannot wash and boldly hang their towels in the open. The reason why it is kept under the bed. Less talk of ironing them. So these are the realities of the posh pieces, for example, or the other ones, not to the sanitary one.
Yes, for the posh pieces, they go now, and I mean the road inside where they pass. For me, all man will say, don't you pray for say, okay, I'm liberated. I have no shame about it. It's a normal process. Yes, we know all of that. But then look at what's acceptable. You'll find somewhere to hang in the sun, a dry that you iron them. But we try to discourage. We encourage the use of the reusable ones because they are cost effective. They're sustainable, but at the same time, may they get a safe space, the infrastructure for me you go able for do them rightly. We say you get water, you get soap for wash your hand and everything like that. So that method we do first them where they hide them everything. Now source of infection. We're not encouraging for do that. But the good thing as well is that with the same elect the water on drain parandi, you iron them. Fine, you put them, it's okay. Because for kill the bacteria. Because they go one menses over another men's and if you not wash the towels properly. And secondly, when you iron them, it really flat. It feel like the ordinary, like the other tampons where you put on. You don't get any roughness or anything like that. It's comfortable when it's done like that.
So in line with that, when they talk about the posh pieces, is it safe to use any material or there's certain texture of material? The reason I ask because like with the what do you call the thing, the face mask, where people start for use the cloth one, reusable mask. People usually use all thing, but now it look like say then they use certain material. I don't know if now the same with these posh pieces. Really, is there a specific kind of material where they use?
It's specific because you have layers of them, and you have a fabric that is absorbent. It's absorbing basically. Now the inner layer of it. Just like the pad, and if you actually put water on them, just like the pad, they see it as well because of the material they use. They absorb them. You see, so also any kind we can use. I don't say. Before we mad them and we seem to use just that. Then this disposable sanitary pads not be there. If it can be this, if they were not, readily available or accessible. So this one away, it is soil, it absorb just like the other based on the fabric that they use. And I could say even the home economics labs them na schools. If they use for do that, and they can even sell at low cost na schools or if any funding they get na school. If they get a good class of what they can go and sell to other people at low cost as well, it will be more sustainable and people will sort of produce even more for support themselves and their communities.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I started my period late at my age now 50, still having a period but feeling very hot, sweaty majority of the time. Any reason why that's happening?
I think so now. Premenopausal, that with premenopausal with the sweats and you start your period late. Yes, as I said, the other they start late, you finish late. But you start late, but due to your own hormone and your makeup means you begin to go through early menopause. So as we say, those are one size fit all. They will talk about the majority of what happens, but there are the exceptions are there. You see, so you start late, but now at 50, you get hot flushes. These are all signs of menopause. And with this sign of menopause, similar to menstruation, hot flushes, mood swing, a person can use stuff, a whole lot of things. For that, I don't know if the menopause and the premenstrual or the PMS, I don't know which one bad, which one worse. Because the period will continue, but the menopause, until you get to that, or even some man awake is so bad, they put them on HRT, hormonal replacement therapy, for take away all these symptoms. So I'll just say it's a natural process. Obviously, the eggs or whatever it is, normally they get older. They produce as much estrogen, because even the period probably gets lighter and lighter as well. So not just perimenopausal you go through. By the time you're 55 going to 60, your full menopause, your period will stop gradually or eventually.
I was just about to ask, what is the actual age range for women to really stop their period? Is there any specific range at which?
Between 55 and 60, but some finish early, and some are 60, but they're still having their periods. So again, there are the few who goes over, and those who come in early as well. Because
so does your period mean you're still fertile to have kids, or it means no, you can't have kids anymore if you stop having your period?
Your period means you ovulate. But what sort of level of ovulation you get for get pregnant is another thing, the levels. Okay. So you will still get a period, but they ovulate enough for conceive.
Right.
Okay. There's a question for you here, Tina. Says some women are having heavy flows and also very painful. What advice can you give?
Well, with the heavy flows and waiting, obviously go to, sorry?
Heavy flow and pain, a lot of pain.
And pain, yes. With pain, some people they get a lot of pain doing that. As I say, see what works for you. Some people, their pain so strong that ordinary paracetamol, where you get over the counter, not able, the doctor will prescribe for you something where you could take, will help with the pain. The heavy flow, again, they can try to investigate what make it so heavy. Because with Afro-Caribbean women, we know that notorious, or we bodies, they make room for a lot of fibroids. If you want to get fibroid uterus, they can offer the bleed heavily. So all we therefore investigate for no. And that's make again, because we culture them, as they call you there, so you don't say easily go to GP, they call you for yearly this, they call you for cervical screening, they call you for breast screening. You just have to be aware, know your body, and seek medical help when you know that there is a change in your body. At least you get for know what's going on with you.
So that nine are the concern. We talk about now the infrastructure and the investment part of it. So because there's a question here. It say, how about government? Remember you mentioned water, now the marketplace them and all that. They say, how about government for provide them bounce at them and running tap water, now schools as well as communal places such as market, recreation area. We look at this thing as an isolated, issue because it affects women and children. But salon, for example, majority of the population are women and picking them. So why do you think we have to, well, not necessarily say give this priority over everything else, but make sure, say, we invest? And if you, for advice in terms of strategy, is it only providing the pads or waiting with you for investment at this time for make sure, say, we support women them, when they go through them phase as part of the empowerment?
Thanks. As part of the empowerment, first of all, the knowledge is very important. You can go talk at the marketplaces, at the community centers, talk to them about menstruation. They will get similar response, like saying, oh, we don't want to talk about this, but what's a woman in there with him? Otherwise, if they don't want man, they get women's focus group. We don't go to talk about that, get girls to everybody. Infrastructure is very important. And again, when you look at it as an isolated thing, then the solution becomes difficult. Thinking that, how about the others? They become sounding like a feminist or whatever it is. But it could be an integrated response. You see, if water business, they want to get water in our schools, just ensure, say, we increase capacity, because we get that in mind. You see, the toilets, and for make sure, say, if now one toilet, they make them two, and make sure, say, water, then they make sure, say, clean. Because everywhere they get the health program, you just say, integrate the menstrual hygiene health into it. So, say, because of the high hygiene, therefore, you need to forget this. Ordinarily, they need to forget some anyways. So how are they improve services for cover these other areas that women and girls they go through. But just it should be in isolation. When things become in isolation, it's difficult. Because there are so many WASH programs where you talk about water and sanitation with health. So you integrate that for making stronger. And if not anything, make a stronger case for ensure, say, these services or infrastructures are available for women and girls for maintaining their dignity, their privacy, and ensure, say, all the stigma and shame for go away.
So a friend is asking a question. If you are now on menopause, is there a special medication to take forever?
No, because if they put you on HRT, it depends on what the person's personality, because before we were saying that medicalization of women's health, HRT, where you don't go through it, you get all sorts of names. Where you can get them hot flashes, then mood swings. You get turn at night, you get up to 3 hours sleep in the night. All man, they feel cold in the room. You just they sweat. Like who are they on drugs, they get a withdrawal. Then you know that this is really serious. So you can get symptom management. There are certain things you can get over the counter. They're natural remedies. You can get that for the hot flushes or mood swings. But then if you want get any pharmaceutical help or drugs, then I then therefore put you on the HRT components where you will take to a point. Because we know, say, menopause, they carry different things. They talk about numbness of the libido and waiting, You get to that point, say, where your reproductive organs, they're not as, effective as others, that incline really sexually and all that. So there are different things that you can do. If you only go on HRT because of dryness of your libido or numbness, then you can get lubricants. So there are a lot of things that people can do for ensure that they're able to deal with the signs and symptoms of menopause.
Back to the infrastructure and the investment part. I don't know in your case studies, because I see some pictures there where you do a lot of programs with young people. All right, let's start first with the education part, where where you do salon and you do your work in a salon. Who swamp and the audience the way you get more reception from or pushback, the women, young girls or women, or is there any way you ever get in terms of experience where you try to educate? Because say something like you say you learn old dog new trick. Some people go don't say this na the way we don't they do them from time immemorial. So who that na Tina Davies for can't tell me, but they are not the English one I they talk so, or the young girls they will say, this is my one for can't put boku work away, now so they don't tell you for do things at home. Where do you get challenges or pushback or more reception?
Well, me intervene.
Okay. We lost Tina there shortly. You go join me back. But we did talk to Tina Davies. Today we discuss menstrual hygiene, action and investments in menstrual hygiene and health. Whilst we wait for Tina, T-Boy, and Femi, we feel so don't learn something so far.
I'm quite impressed for the fact that there are so many men on the platform right now watching, even though they need to ask questions or they're not making direct participation. But I think it's quite impressive to see the amount of male participants they're within the chat group right now. But again, it is a good platform for us to learn. But I think it's also a two-way street, because women, for as much as men they learn, able for being in the position for reciprocate the same thing, for make we able to understand, say, well, this is the period of my time that I'm going through X, Y, Z, Z, Z. I mean, there should be a more amicable way of communicating that so everybody can understand where they stand and where the support is needed. Then the men should fall in that position to give that support. So basically, I don't think it's just a one-sided thing. As much as the man they're not comfortable for discuss that, I think women should also be in the position to decide to bring up those discussions to their partners and make it very comfortable for them to discuss it. For example, Boku man not go say to you, oh, I want to let you go buy me tampon or let you go buy me sanitary this or that or that. I'm not going to say majority, but many men don't know their sanitary tools where the woman in the use, or sanitary equipment, or sanitary whatever you might call it, where the woman in the use, because they need to discuss that. They don't have that sort of discussions in any way, shape, or form. So I think say women for make them a matter of must for at least bringing those conversations to their partners so that they can understand. Say, if I'm not in the position to go and do this today, can you go and get me some sanitary pads? Can you go and get me that? Or even when I do shopping, remind them, so not forget to, you sanitary pad and almost done, you need to get some more. These are some of the discussions I think the women should also bring on board to the men, so it makes it more easier. And again, with the other side of things, where I mentioned earlier on, say, well, parents, them, especially the fatherly parent, the way mentioned, say something with lost their partner or don't divorced, or the sole carer for their young girls. Again, it's a challenge, but they can find a way to deal with it. Again,
I shall say that last part they will get for ask Tina, let's touch on them again, because we get somebody in the chat group. We just ask that same question that we talk about Soti Boy. But you're absolutely right. The first part stating that it's a two-way traffic. And I think when Tina started the conversation, she stated that woman business, not all man business. You see, it's man day back, all man business. So Tina, they underline. And it's outside man or men, then they get for make with business. So Tina, they asked you about, in terms of, I think, was it the investment part? No, the pushbacks. Or
the pushbacks, yeah. Yeah, so as they say, where I think so I end up forget some technical problem with the internet. And now mostly young girls, we don't start the period, we forget that information. So where they on waiting for you. So now that we can talk to them in the sense, give them the knowledge and the choices, and not to just the pads, not to just the menstruation, but the whole body, the hygiene. As I don't talk about the body odor before, you just say possibly BO. We need them pass near that whiff thing, like armpits, the sweat, the smell. Not because they're not clean, not because they don't wash well, not just the hormones and the phase where they're in. Now that's what it is. So basically empowerment for look after their health and themselves. With the older women, some women can talk about they are big. Look, almost see me on the get me period. Waiting this one can't tell me what. So now go for it for me in the beginning. So they normally don't have the patience for that. But if there is a forum, use the young. Because when you try to create a different forum out of their own, niche, there is a problem. Because they think you got to create special time for that. But within the time, when they communicate with the woman in their groups, then this conversation will come there, that they can get to talk about it. But doing it separately just for that. People never always say they get their priorities, they get different way to do it. You priority in associating, so one people say, now that's what they pay you for. So talk them. Need to go fencing for it. And they go do me own. But if you find which side they get that thing there for it, within that cycle, they not take them out and get this conversation with them, they will give you audience.
And if you get people inside the way you go train, like you say, the TBAs or CDAs, them where you go bring calm, you train them, then let's say talk because now then community now they understand the people, they know the language. Exactly. But if you go more foreigner, then you can't talk to the people in Bompe, you always go get challenged because like you don't know the timing firstly, who stand and feel comfortable for talk about that. They don't know who not for there because sometimes they go carry you only meeting. Then begin to
understand their culture. The whole society gets your culture. You have to understand it, you have to be part of one. You see, now that make you always as an entry point, when they talk about anything we do in terms of safety, the entry point, use one of the people or utilize the service that are supposed to use it. Maybe from part of that team, they can go in safe into the environment or community and for stay what you need for safe. But just they go from nowhere, one begin to tell people they're waiting for to understand first what they do, how they did one, why they did one, they can bring you into it. But you not go take a prescription for them for telling them, say, oh, it's not doing wrong, as if they're stupid. Obviously, you get to push back on that because this is what they've been doing, this is their life. And it's actually just rude to forgo tell people and say they do it wrong. And that's what they leave. So get somebody within the community where they will talk to they understand what you want to talk about, and when I talk about them. Maybe they use their own general time as opposed to just creating a specific time for that. That's what I would say.
Okay. So in terms of best practices, based on your, because I know you already work across with other countries or networks. Any country they ways until you don't, organizations the way you don't interact with, will tell you say the empowerment, the things that we mentioned, the infrastructure, the investment and everything don't help them move or empower women them from this point to this point where you think say waiting them do differently, where you think say can work for yourself or can adapt for with countries alone, for example?
Well, a lot of work's been done. Like you will say UNHCR will deal with refugees. They don't do a lot of research and study on menstrual hygiene. What is there for do for the how to promote that the services where they for bring come in and look at that and see where they don't provide then services here. So the issues where they get and compare and see the gains the way they make. Because really with the input and all of that, the output at the end of it, they want to make sure that people then get, a comfortable period of menstruation, which are the supplies, the right infrastructure for support, which they do, and give them the education. So a lot of work's been done in collaboration with different organizations or country, but UNHCR, I know for sure, and I've got privy to most of these documents. They don't do plenty study on menstrual hygiene and whatever. And I did all NCR to come out where they can with this we get this menstrual hygiene global day when on the 28th of March, because these are the issues. And come to 2023 or 2030 for ensure say most communities don't actually able to deal with the issue as well. Where women will get the supplies, they get the knowledge and get the infrastructure for go through the administration with no problems at all, basically. So there's a lot of communique, a lot of discussion on this.
Okay. And there's a comment here and a question. So, of course, sharing the knowledge should be done in age groups also. So there's a question from a gentleman, Joseph Molaikano, say, what advice can you give to single fathers with daughters experiencing these phases, especially in puberty and teenage stage? That's a question. And another comment here from Amanata Sanusi. My daughter is 18 years. She's asking why she has blood clots when in her menstruation, and it will last for 7 days with serious cramp and will develop lots of pimples with black heads, and it will take ages to disappear. Thank you. So my daughter, I think they make that comment today, so just want for share.
I'm glad for no say young people that they listen to the program. It's very encouraging. But it look like say more like look late because we don't talk about this one. We see fathers they would do for support their daughters. That we even talk about single parenting, single fathers, how they will support them picking them. So you get social workers. If you have one, we for help you towards that. If you did upline, if you didn't have salon for instance, they talk. There are community health workers around. We have family support. They have health workers. We have clients. These are women that within the society or within communities we can help pregnant women and get into facilities. And these ones, traditionally, they were called TBAs, traditional birth attendants, where they don't try to stop them now for one instead of with the support because they get a lot of maternal deaths through them practices. So there's a lot of support in communities. You just need to know where to go or who to ask for it. Even with the sanitary pads where some man on the waiting for buy, they go buy all the sizes and become.
Femi.
They are right now say, okay, now this one we need, we will stick to this. So I think you just need to be open. Again, it depends on the relationship which you pick in or your relationship with your partner. That's when I will get the conversation. Because when I not get a good relationship, or when I will get a good relationship, but when a communication on the each side and when I just feel say a delicacy or whatever it is, a taboo, then it go difficult to get to there. With the young lady where they get the pimples, they get the hormones. Like when they say we want come on, you didn't notice someone that didn't get pimples. The hormones are waiting at your body. You get pimples, you just look rough in a way. So maybe just one of them people as well, where they get a lot of people, they will take time for me, the blackheads, and then continue for steady. They get a lot of pain, they get clots. You see, but what I can say, it depends who side in day. If she's 18, it depends who side in day. They see a gynecologist, then they go do some investigation, then they go know exactly what they go on. Because it will be very unprofessional for me for can't talk say, it will be this, it will be this, it will be this. Yes, I will say probably this, but let it go. May go give it symptoms they get with the doctor, then maybe if now any diagnosis they can't do and they get a prescription, then they will get something to be able for manage in symptoms and during menstruation.
Somebody sent me a message. It say there's another kind thing within they use them call a moon cup. So they get different variation moon cup for what you call adults them and other one for virgins and stuff like that. I don't know whether is that recommended, is that something you're aware of within they use doing so that's the question.
So with the moon cup, I'm not familiar with it, but that's something I will find out for see how it's being used or what is it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And because those are one of the known sort of methods or materials or supplies being used.
Mm-hmm. Okay, they even send me a picture. I don't send it to you as well, so you will look at it.
So Mr. go learn.
Yes, so you see, that makes us say our learning process here. So, let's see here. So somebody they suggest Khalifa Kondo. I suggest in observance of next year's menstrual day, we hold a well-planned session at a police barracks, preferably in the western area. The security sector must be considered in this conversation. They need our help too. Over to you.
Yes, I know that because I know say, but I'm Khalifa Kondo, the pioneer and the CEO of the police women. It are ex-police officers association where they've done launch recently, and they want to see a lot of activities for empowering the women themselves and moving to their families. So yes, it's something that we can look into, and it's possible.
So this now the same Dr. Khalifa Kondo who's having a salon, the police.
Well, a lot of doctor, yes, but not been the
AIG.
Yes, yes.
Well,
and
there is a
on UN mission as well. So INSEF they listen. The INSEF wants make the women them be empowered in that for know what they go on. And most women organizations can ask, even the last time I video with the military wives, we talk about breast cancer and cervical cancer, so that they go understand and foresee that they get any signs and symptoms, how they go able to figure out early, because we always say early detection saves lives. They not go with stating, don't go far before they raise them. And also they go able to feel, comfortable and open for the discussions. So maybe the police wives and the retired police officers, female police officers, it's an opportunity to have similar conversation with them.
Well, I just want to recognize and acknowledge them and say publicly, not to all the time they get them here. So, we get pioneers them, they watch we program. We have to recognize what they've done in the past. Salon owe a lot to them. If we talk about rape and sexual violence acts in Sierra Leone today, she was one of the pioneers.
Yes,
I know that because we worked alongside her for make sure we bring the first acts in Sierra Leone. So thank you, Madam Khalifa Kondo, for your good work. We know Sedenten and the way in our police, it push a lot of young people and push the case for women's empowerment. So thank you. So I see why you're passionate about that. Well, on a try, on a make sure on a involved.
But no, because I know they try for bring in the professionalism and dignity where we there in the police force, try for reinstall Amusai and for strengthen the professionalism and across other disciplines. So.
And now where you mention this, it don't trigger other thing for me where I go ask you, because we have people in detention centers, all they give the education. Are we only looking at those, outside, or we consider themselves as sit and get right? Because if they talk about communal places, a woman where then detain, go detain out man, because let's say then kind of issue happen. Do they make provision for them? I don't say possibly get the 100% answer, but these are things we need to talk about if we get for push the conversation. Women in detention centers, in prisons.
Yeah, but women in detention centers, there's a female correction center where all female, they're not mixed with the male. Okay. So we say that we will forget their reproductive health because it's a right. It's a human right thing. Women
is it been provided? Is it been accorded to them? That's the question.
I would like to think so, because I know we'll say no, because I don't quite know what's the on it. So for, be the devil's advocate, I would like to think so.
Okay.
But probably it's not at the level that it should be, so there is room for improvement.
Interesting. So you see, don't not forget them. All man gets rights, regardless of how you do. One of the burning thing, the way you mentioned earlier, where somebody come back and say, let me see this question here, because they keep bombarding people. I don't know if they're not feel comfortable for call today. Not text them. They said for some odd reason, but it's all good. Let me see this question. Say, okay, yeah, but we talk about the water and the community thing. Say, water are basic needs. The person majority try for support, which you say. We talk about the WASH program. Obviously, this is supposed to be happening. It shouldn't be like an isolated. The only thing you get for up the supply, because for say more people than they need. They say, make we just get water in the country. See, that's all we need. They say they not provide water for drink. Now water for period, then go provide. People would rather use the water for drink and cook. These are practical things the way the person mentions. In a desperate way, say, why we not go provide water?
Well, again, the water for drink, not saying they will take for provide water for period. So I don't see how they go, because if now water way now well or somewhere they drink, but they chlorinate and well, then they can use them for period. We're not being used for everything. So the basic things that we know, so there's a bigger problem in terms of electricity, in terms of water supply, but ways that they will provide for them to, because even if not streams, then people don't get water, for instance. We're not can purify them in a way where they're able to use them. It won't be drinkable, but then they're able to serve that purpose for wash and for support people on their menses, women and girls.
Juma, I think if providing water for sanitary purposes, that the easy we make water for Canada country, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So if you're not pushing for people and for drink, if we can push for people and for use, we will be of very good use to women in general. Why not? I think every angles have to be exhausted, as long as we will forget some of the things they will be pushed for, we will satisfy everybody within the community. So if there is not enough water to drink, and there is water being provided for sanitary purposes, as like Tina said, if it is purified well, people can also drink it.
Yeah.
So I think there should be any reason for anything for happening.
Yeah, I think that text study, they try for express the frustration, why we not forget water in the first place, So this is something that's supposed to be basic need.
I think the bigger problem now they try for explain.
Yes,
problem. Yeah, and that's why I keep saying that in terms of the menstrual hygiene management, it should be an integrated approach.
Right.
Not just waiting. Provide water if water not the problem, they didn't get written. If not sanitary towels, then if not supplies, through the health system, they get free healthcare drugs, they're waiting. So in the communities, for instance, if not like painkillers, paracetamol, for somebody to get pain, how you get that in painkiller? If not education, we're supposed to get through the schools, then bring back FLA, the family life education, when they talk about reproductive sexual health, the menstrual hygiene will come into that. So they all need to be integrated. Because if you bring them, they just be piecemeal. But there are already services, how you strengthen them, how you improve them for cover them activities here. So now that's what they need for look at and how, carry on with that.
Okay, so let me begin to look at the solutions they're moving forward from an expert point of view. We know, me particular about Salon, because now they will get limited resources and more challenges and a lot of, misconception and taboos. But again, it's about confidence, like we find for a lot of talks, let person go hospital and this, but that comes with cost, So for let person not even reach that level where you get for begin go hospital for this, we're able for managing your own, how we able for do that at the country. And like you say, the bigger program, we're not to just one thing, it goes with a lot. You supply sanitary pads. Yes, well and good. Everybody needs people away, they need a demographic, they need them. But how do you tell people how to dispose of it?
And how sustainable is it?
And how sustainable.
And affordable, yeah.
And affordability, that's one. So why you go say, okay, with a give now this now sample as part of we awareness raising education, this is it. But you also have this to go with it. If you not get this, you can use it. Or if this done, use this. Try them. If it not work for you, then it's up to you, for choose which way you feel comfortable. That's one. Two, the other things that we go with that. Because the schools, like people mentioned, the school picking and they go there every day. Do they have water?
Soap, all them the way you forget.
The paracetamol day, we then go use, we go in at the staff room, now the first aid kits, we one picking go need them, at a particular point, and how go refill them, all of those things. So
no big... the clinic now, almost all the schools then. So how they will utilize that, so the clinic could be an entry point for this conversation and providing supplies.
Mm-hmm. And also the home economics, if they still do home economics, that already don't be a project for them for do.
For the skills lab, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So over to Ila Lefangila no with Nicola. Me just want to tease the conversation. Now you're not the expert.
No, but then this is something we've talked about because all of these stuff, even if it's they decide to, okay, I get almost money, I want to produce reusable sanitary pads, you bring in the material, then do flop the, made them be accessible to. I know some people they think now say, oh, washing this, but it's it's easy to do. It depends, as to say, not a one size fits all, but certain environment where not get the right supplies, for instance, the disposable, not the. So the reusable one are the best bet for use because it's still hygienic, it's easy for deal with, and if you get to the environment, even within the household, we say say you don't we say you put you reusable pad or called posh pieces, you put on there, you iron and you do whatever it is. So it's all about the mindset and how to provide. Because most of these stuff doesn't cost much. It's just to ensure that people, made it a priority that we're going to provide ABC, and the how of doing it. Hopefully, it won't be too costly at all because they already get services. They just strengthen their services then for accommodate the others with their own. So most of what they can talk about, it's a new concept, it's this, that. Most of these stuff are not new. But it's just because people they collect projects can't do them, left them not sustainable. But how do they integrate them into regular activities for make sure say not just 6 months, boom bam, it on done, then people are not getting active. You see, if you guys supply, if an agency can't say don't can supply on a sanitary pad, one packet, and so now 1 month it take. So the next month what did they happen? What's how they pull up? So it has to be sustainable. You see? So if the reusable ones are the most sustainable, affordable methods, we then create skills lab for producing where one picking will get 2, 3, sets, because a set can get about 2 or 3 inside. 2, 3 sets, it is lasting for over 6 months. They chuck them away, they get another set. That's sustainable and it's easy to work with.
So yeah, within 6 months, we don't try it.
Yeah, now even when it comes to infrastructure, they get toilet, all of it for ensure say regular water they and with if now 1 bucket was started, they put make sure they get 2 buckets water. Because at one time how many people they on administration. So it's just strengthening services, improving on what's already existing. You see, because when you think about crates, they begin now get new roles with different nomenclatures and this and that for kind of no, these things are already in the system. Tease them out and provide or strengthen the services to cover these activities.
Right. So let's explain how for we not go back to school. So there's a school picking them, they know so. You get girl picking, boy picking them. They picking them, then there's a toilet. But the toilet, now one toilet for all the picking them. So make them 2 toilets so they'll get more access. Can be na rumbele the person get, so you get more people let it go do rumbele every day frequently. Just example, yeah. But if you get 2 toilets, that means say more people will get access for use the toilets. If we keep put 1 bucket water, we increase them to 3 bucket water. So water there for more picking the way one for use toilet. So with Madam Tina, they talk about infrastructure, law no emergency, mansion. This exists already. School day, school picking then they need toilets. Toilets they here because they are basic things. Many outside motorman and the toilet supposed for the
a washroom. Instead of doing another toilet, just a washroom. Who don't they specifically use that again? I know we talk say, oh, because they will get a name this not saying at the period area and the period section. They begin stigmatized, begin, begin feel ashamed for go inside it. But let not a washroom then provide if you not cannot do a whole toilet. Because they just need for where they use them, clean themselves, wash themselves, and get back to your classes. Similarly with the market women as well. And this not an extra washroom.
This not very expensive for them.
No, it's not.
You see, so if you build land at each school, each community, you don't improve the infrastructure, more people will get access. Home economics, then the land for show them how for the posh pieces, do then don't get projects where then they do for land, for stitch, for this, then that way then perfect time. Then provide for them school. A day at the school supply room, would I need I go use them if they no one forget to all man, for example.
And do mama just say most of them things are so the resources already there. Not only for waiting to some they are partners. And most of partners and money where they go to now for activities at the country anyway. So no talk so they always go big partners and waiting. Now project will not make for the country money can. They have wash partners, health partners, people who do their supplies, they get gender partners them in communities. They can as long as these are government priorities. So whatever they do in their activities, they can align them, even if it's aligned in their, in their plans, annual plans, and we to say social community, that's also thing. These are the needs. This is what we have to do. So it's been integrated into the general thing. So also separately, we'll say for menstrual hygiene management, this and that. It could be just aligned activity in the whole year's program.
If you talk about for quality education, that can be into that.
It's an integration because then if family life education had died, just resurrect it. And support these kids, So it's not a lot of money or whatever it is. As long as they are the priorities, all they need to do are align activities. And when we jig them, then fund it. Because it covers that. Wash, once you provide wash at the school, if this is a priority, it only wash for society. If they increase your wash, quantity, you justify and say because of the menstrual hygiene, kids are waiting. If not the health aspect, if not the medication, they cannot the clinic, you increase them. If not the sanitary part, you increase them. If you think, okay, we need another toilet, you can justify it. Because if you have a school, if not girls' school, obviously, if not one toilet, say, they need 2 toilets. Because some picking if you don't in period, they spend longer in the toilet because they for something out before they come out. So I think that just the willpower and people understanding what to do and what the needs are, it can be easily done and it'll be sustainable.
See, boy, I see one.
Somebody asked, say, how about some jingles, adverts on TV and radio adverts on posters, handouts, and literature in schools? Are all these sort of devices available to school children, or is it something that you guys are doing already for make that awareness day become global to all the school picking and really go school?
Well, that's the thing. That's why I keep saying that the conversation needs to.
Okay, Tiboy can ask the sweet part span the question, the network can foul way, but not it happen. But I think that's a good question right there. And also the one about taking the hygiene education to the female prisons. For me, it came as an afterthought, but I think it's an important question as well, because then said they now man them. It not change waiting and they go through whether they are prisoners or not. Don't you think?
Well, I think the area I want to last talk about in terms of raising
the infrastructure
side of it, I think it's very important. But I don't know which models that they look at. Now the same, okay, Tina say this is something that already exists, right? So is it just a continuity or just to endorse or build up upon what already exists?
You integrate them into what already exists. So if the school gets one toilet, you don't see a need for let the school get 2 toilets. So more pickiness. So not necessarily say, then usually make a specific one for, this, because then they will get your own problem as well. So increase the facility with it. One toilet no go do for 500 picking them. Don't make 2 toilet at the school if you can't make it 3. Book water.
I think if I make mention of a lot of that in the past, and as something I think say maybe for be looked at very seriously in terms of mentorship in schools, in terms of driving the agenda of making sure that kids are aware of this, people who should be in the position to talk to them, give them some amount of knowledge in terms of what in they get for use, how they use them, early learning processes.
Man.
Because what in I feel to say lack a lot also in schools at the moment, now mentorship. Certain schools they may get some amount of mentorship with people where they come in for do sessions. But again, the amount of mentorship we see now these days in Sierra Leone is quite different from the one that we go through. Because mentorship is about bringing in role models with serious impact knowledge when they go put within the younger girls, then when they go to school, may they able to understand some of them basic things there. So
right.
Rather than just bringing in role models who they can talk about entertainment, sports, and other issues then. Because these are all serious issues, but also get a look at the hygienic side of things of how you bring in mentorship and role models within secondary schools and primary schools, where I think say also important. Not just necessarily older folks, but people of younger generation within their own age rank, who possibly just don't left secondary school or don't go into university, don't university, but still able to understand the language of these young kids. Because sometimes it's also about understanding the language. If you don't understand their language, you don't know how they talk, how they communicate, you will struggle. So something in make some of the older folks, they get them as a massive challenge for communicating to these younger girls because the languages are different.
Right. Okay.
So I think mentorship should be really looked at for able for bridge that gap between the school-going kids and the university leavers or the people who just they go into university where the beginning can able for listen to, especially when they attend the school we didn't ever attend because they have already been there, they know what it is, they don't go through some of the challenges, then it will make it easy for the beginner to understand.
Right.
So the integration of what's in already there exists can be used with ex-pupils of that particular school day for generate more awareness to them because then be able for still able to know the challenges with them they face and the improvements when they will bring come to the schools and how they go for pass that message there across.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, T-Boy, I like what you say, but like alumni of the school for the going, but that's wherein the association and the current administration they get on. When a different story that they say then alumni go in for do the mentorship and everything. But they can even use because they are girls champions, their organizations where they do mentorship for girls then. So peer group support. We don't do that peer group support, they don't train them as mentors or leads for that. They can support their colleagues in schools. Then classmate them and waiting they can for support them. And I know about at least maybe 3-4 organizations where they do that, where they empower, young girls, especially even those who have been mothers are going back to school, their experiences, how they support, they do that kind of stuff. Even when it comes to like choice of contraceptive, and other people they think they wait till school beginning for the talk about contraceptive or whatever it is, but they have their peer group things, advocacy and stuff that will discuss and see what's empower them in terms of their choice of contraception. Okay. And even the clinics and stuff they get for young people, they come in, get a time where they go do, whether they mix with adults and with got to go shave or with it. So, and for make sure so they get a private access to forms of contraceptive or healthcare.
Okay. Like an area what they will call a safe zone. Anything of any discussion is accepted, and without any kind of malice or any kind of stereotype or anything.
Exactly. Where the mama impact, go tell and say, so you begin talk today.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Femi, over to you.
Hi, Jima.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so talking about what's the word? The development side of things. We won't have been talking about earlier on.
Yeah, the infrastructure.
Yeah, the infrastructural development.
Mm-hmm.
Tina, what about the people in the remote village them? The far places to reach. How do we communicate to them? How do we get our message or this vital messages we you give so to them? Because today we don't learn bokum, we don't learn about the cycle, we don't learn about the pads, how to wear them, how not to wear them, the tampons, how to wear them, how not to wear them, about we demand them, how we for support the we woman them, we picking them, we girl picking them. How do we get these messages to the remotest of villages in our country, Sierra Leone?
Okay. Most of the hard to reach areas get health facilities. One of the most remote side I don't work, and I'm pleased that I was there, like Tumbawala, within Akambia district, when I riverine area. I had to sit in the local boats 2 hours for 2 hours for cancel, 4 hours in water for each day. And they get how many schools? About 2 secondary schools, primary schools, riverine, fishing at the main waiting, teenage pregnancy on the high and all of that. But they get a health facility. So you strengthen that health facility, encourage the schools then for bringing in the conversation. And they know the way they need things, then who side they go. Because the last thing you want is giving information, but you don't get the proper linkage or direction.
Maybe this technology go continue for foul we and yeah, because sometimes day we imagination Femi now just about freedom, or they talk about Sierra Leone, but we forget the hard to reach communities, the isolated areas, their way sometimes they we're not even members safe. And that's key.
So Juma, I had a follow-up question for Tina when it joined back. And do these already exist? So I beg if you need to come back to me when Tina come back, if you cable ask him, because we live in the information age. We not say yes. There's some areas there we not easy for which, as Tina say, 2 hours by boat go, 2 hours by boat come. It's not an easy journey. And before you go get the boat safe, the motorcar ride safe, I should say not go easy. Yeah. But we can't keep reinventing the wheel. So not to all time we get for job not able to go 2 hours go, 2 hours come back. So if we know see that's the challenges, do we have these measures already in place? We, like train the trainer thing, where you can able to train certain people and for deliver the messages on an ongoing basis, not to for tell the people in this one time, then you come back 3 years later. It's a continuous thing with the bond picking every day. Woman and go through this year so every month. So it's do these places exist, or if they don't, is there a plan to have these places so that people are not getting for the commutes from the largest towns and for the go spread their message also?
Yeah, Tina is back, so you can ask.
I don't know, but something because they saw what taboo, so somebody sabotage the internet.
Yes, they work.
Yeah, simple.
It's outside go and call Tumbawala, then you always ask the question. Tumbawala saying Maggie go send
No, but as you just say, as Femi they ask, every community gets a community health committee. Latina they're supposed to get in every community, doesn't matter how small they are. And they're associated or linked to the health centers. So once they don't call into a meeting, they don't get this information, then they can go out and support. And there are even men's group, because members say, I can go be color. Once they get a men's group, the way they support in terms of his teenage pregnancies or early child marriage. When are the men, the male-to-male engagement, where they do that for ensure, say, teenage pregnancy or child marriage is not the way, basically. So they even, any parents who want for make picking and go married or waiting, the group can go there and then support and ensure that they can go back to school. And even with the one that don't get belay, don't come out school, when they born back, they can encourage them to go back to school. So then get a male engagement group so you can support with them today.
Okay. So that answer your question, Femi?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So at least it exists, but not at the level where we want a one for see more. We want for see more of them things here. So we go make sure say we say support with woman them and we girl picking them. Tina, before you summarize for we, let's ask you, can you don't begin mention Tumbo Wala and be color? I beg, yeah, I don't say, but tell me, who say you don't work for, say, the areas, or the activities that we be done do it on for the past years there. Because with one old OB, I don't say you get her because of your activities, but some people with that time to they just sit down behind the desk, air condition, they blew them, or a field marshal OB.
Well, the side outside I work really, where I wrote to UNFPA under the Saving Lives project. I don't turn engineer for monitor constructions, if where it would be like Kehama Road Hospital, when I be satellite. I was involved in the demolition of the old hospital and for rebuild them, for monitor. I became the health and safety person there because each time I go, because of McDonald's, where the construction firm under DFID, we're responsible for that. So I realize if I'm a project, each time when they come, they see something, means saying they do what they're supposed to do, or me on go to that stakes. So I each at the site, before I begin claim the scaffolding and they go up and all side with meeting, I then ensure say everybody on the site wear the right kind of protective gear when they're supposed to wear. While they go in Kailaung, Kwendu, I go the other side of Kono. So basically most big towns in the country, I don't go work under health, but mostly infrastructure development, either construction or rehabilitation extension. I don't go Pujong, Summer Lane, different side and everything. So
you've moved around. So you're not field marshal.
Not field marshal, yes. Okay. That's the office one.
Into the office where this young behind desk. Right.
No. I like for going field and I enjoy it. And if you see me up with me hat and waiting a field up the building them, because even with Rokupa Hospital, that was another one we demolished and did. So all the time I'm up the scaffoldings, up the site. So
Tina, with all your engagement within the provincial towns, where na the area and where people need to actually reach that frequently, what are some of the challenges that you face with the traditional aspect and related to the work we do?
When it comes to traditional, because every community gets your own issue. Like if you go to Cambia, at the time maternal health was on the rise. Waiting to, because certain areas in this so traditional in the sense that women not even get a right or say over in body, and what do they do? For what hospital, like you get belly, I want to say, if a woman needs transfusion, the man say no, they get transition, I die when they die, you know, go take up. So there are lots of issues, traditional issues there. Although even the health community and the CHC under the Ministry of Health, they don't say any Southside, anybody will go to a TBA, traditional attendant, they define them. They get some kind of memorandum at the place, but then still they do them. Because traditionally, that times that they've got this deep-seated tradition for a person where they're part of that community, before understand. But all the way, you create the facilities, they don't do improve infrastructure, provide services, bring supplies, but the patients don't come because they rather go get some next. Maybe not just like when they say, bad habits die hard or whatever it is. I don't know. But it's so difficult on Saturday for infiltrate. Even those that work there, you talk to the healthcare workers, you look at the charts and want to ask questions, why is this not happening? Why is ABC? Then we'll tell you exactly that. Like certain areas, the way we'll say, we possibly don't wait around push too much for something, pass it, don't know, let's begin to snake the boss by you. So people then get different experiences waiting they happen because people then just get in traditions. If they feel say other person become tactful enough, you want for infiltrate or change waiting that they do, as if it's been barbaric or whatever it is, then people get their backs up. So what you do for create change, make them be part of the change. You see, because they talk about the theory of change, and they can't say, they can't impose, otherwise people will just be observers and looking at say whatever. We're not going to talk about, we're not going to do what you want. But when they be part of the change, then be part of the, active in it, then you will see a good result because they try to understand what to make the rationale and understand, say, when you do this, now this will happen. And everybody wants to born a healthy child. But if you don't get the right understanding, how to go, if you don't get the right person, because like you always say, not to what you say, but how you say them. If not, you get the people that are tactful for ever put the case across. Whatever you say, even at the best thing, you don't ever bring come. People know they say because you go about it the wrong way. So yes, people that they try, but then more still need to be done for reach to them people as they had to reach areas them and actually change in perception and understand say your way of life is not wrong, but there are better ways now where they get better results. If you understand that, they're more sort of acceptable to what you bring in.
Right. I know say we can't let you for Woody Store and not to we not can't talk about some of the other issues, but I think they are related. So how this thing, because they talk a lot about women's empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that relate to reproductive health? How you think say reproductive health issues or conversations, them particularly like some of the what they talk about today, how does that relate to women's empowerment? Because sometimes they don't talk about empowerment things, say the woman just for go school or get business money, that's the empowerment.
No, the woman forget the right from knowing they happen to embody. You see a woman who is heavily pregnant, you watch them, don't they in labor for how long? They look and say, okay, we need for those cesarean section. The man say, no, I need to touch me with, I need to put nef panam. When are the next of kin and get power over? Because the woman will talk say, the man don't talk say, I know they get despite them know what will be the outcome. It will still go by waiting man say, no, get the cesarean section, they die. This woman need transfusion. No, me woman they get transfusion. Look, this is not emergency. A need for getting. When I will beg the man, I will do all kinds of because the man will go absolutely. So the empowerment for no waiting good for you, safe. Not all because you want to be a wayward wife, but if you notice, say this is what's good for me in terms of my health. I will understand. This is what I have to do. No disrespect to your husband, but if now this go make a leave, now this go the best decision is for me. I can make that decision. I don't have to wait for my husband to make that decision. And I know say my husband not going to make that decision. If not any other thing, now then I go die by the time the 40 days, it don't make married other woman. So me don't go and forgotten about. But
also, they already get the second wave or the third wave.
But you therefore make a decision for you picking and for yourself. So when they say knowledge is power, like they can't say about women empowerment and reproductive health is a human rights thing where you get for know where you get for get access to the internet for make choices. If you get a right for do that. But if you depend on, the man for make a decision for you, it will always make a decision. Well, I say most men will always make a decision where they suit them, not waiting basically just in the interest of the woman. You cannot generalize, say, man them, but most go make a decision where suit them most. You see? So, the conversation will carry on. We'll go for talk about that. Until we'll talk about infertility. We'll come back talk about menopause because a lot of women them will tell them about this thing. We're saying leaders. Oh yes, but we want to know about this menopause and stuff. There will be room for talk about a whole of other empowerment because most of the time women are educated, but they're not empowered in certain areas. So until you give them the information, you see, you know, be jack of all trades. You will know what you do. But when you come to certain areas, you need somebody who are the expert for tell you, say, ABC, for give you that knowledge. You go read them. But when you read them, you not still understand that. You somebody for come, for break and down for you. For me, you understand, say, this mean, or that mean. So we all need knowledge. We all learn every day. We say they learn every day, things that they change in the field. If you're not trying to update yourself, then you know when wait to the happen. They say old story, it's like teacher, they say old story. So man only for go class and they just take in company or in board, I don't know college, notes, you go still pass because at the same time they key. And then they change, they waiting. So, and especially when it comes to science and reproductive health, the basics remains the same, but there's a lot of advancements where until you get there and try to update yourself, you get for exactly what's been going on. Yeah. So we all need for Google. Then now you can Google something and try to understand. I should say you get the Huawei for professionals. We go check out the basic way for understand. The only thing is that no one can't online doctor them or nurse them. Because we just forgo somebody because that's what happens. All man will all team.
Right.
You see, it will give you the background of something, but it wouldn't give you all the answers.
Right. Okay, Femi, I see you get question or comment.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I let Femi the way he make. Hey.
Yes, so this for we the young man them, but even some of the young woman them as well. The we did look for get speaking. We did look for born something they not get speaking it. Waiting at the best time, we would talk about this whole cycle thing. I will ask the question earlier on. I've been talking about the cycle, but I'll go ask her now. When is the best time for make the engaging sexual intercourse for ensure say, well, you can't ensure, but for get a better probability for pregnancy?
So when are the best time for get busy?
Well, we'll go say day 10 to 14 of your cycle. So Monday they demonstrate for 5 days and then 7 days.
So, Lord, Tina, why should you explain that? Explain this cycle business for Lord understand because it is a cycle. Now, first of May to 31st of May. Now the country they say cycle, so Lord be explained that the first.
No, not to the 1st of May. It's not like when they say cycle, like when you get like when you talk about the planning process.
Yeah.
You plan, you whatever it is, you implement, you evaluate, and you go back to that subject. So that's how it is. Or even like when you come to the labor process and with it. So you get the cycle, the way they say, when you say day 1, elect now the 20 of the month, you get to period at day 1 of the cycle. So not to the 1st of the month, now the day when you begin. So then after you the contact, you go around and see. So when you don't go around the 3 days, but maybe 3, 5, or 7 days, you don't get the menstruation. Then the other 10, now follicular phase. Some people that get very short cycle, 21 days. People that get 21 day cycle. So they assess the 21 days one just like they assess the 28 days one. Now a shorter one. So you can tell like say within every 3-4 weeks they get a period because it's short. Then some man and then I just bam 28 days. They will get them. They will do one then now way with the polycystic ovaries or polycystic ovary syndrome where they can skip 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before it gets one period cycle. You see. So if you try for conceive, where you don't pass, it depends again, you count the days then. You don't have to see period, you count to day 10, day 14. Then they ovulate. And if not proper therapy, they go through, they do follicular tracking, like ultrasound, that they say, okay, this follicle here, so it is like 12 millimeters. It needs to get to 60 millimeters for a rupture, for me to get intercourse. And where you don't rupture, normally the eggs them not they last too long. But the sperm they stay in up to 3 days. It's still viable. So if you don't ovulate, if you don't go on before that day, the sperm already did it, you don't ovulate, then within that cycle, when I go arrange them, see what will happen. Won't I miss that cycle? But again, for say somebody infertile, you get for they get sexual intercourse 3 days a week for talk to infertile. Because if you know they do one, you know talk to na infertility. Because you know they do how they get them, how they get pregnant.
So now for telling me or something, I research question, Andy.
On our way they listen, I 3 days a week.
Plus, Femi, na anyone they can tell. Now you ask the questions. I tell you ask question.
Okay, message for Femi. You didn't tell Femi.
Okay, I go comment under.
So
actually, T-boy, my wife works in sexual health, so some of them question that's why they do, why they ask. So I don't ask in the past because I get Bokupa the weekend they ask me because they know Osai they work.
So when they ask you need a greet earlier. You say they ask the question.
Now. So Tina, continue. This is very important.
No. Yes. So when you then they can do like follicular tracking, where they'll tell you say they're sorting, get intercourse. It can be very stressful because lots of natural thing. At time I'm saying, okay, can go. And a lot of men them where that's when the pressure where they get say, okay, the follicles are already now for get intercourse, for the sperm go meet the eggs, for the person hopefully conceive and other kinds of things. That pressure they can't even get it up.
What
so
do you mean?
Downside and oh Lord, they can't get it up means they don't even have an erection.
Okay.
Because of the pressure. And I think for can naturally. You see? So that cycle they just abandon it because that's not happen. Women they can get frustrated because that not happen. But sometimes what thing will happen is they can go for IUI when I intrauterine insemination, where the man will go produce a semen where they will wash and we see where you get your privacy, get in magazines or DVD where you go watch, where will help them for do that. Then they do insemination. Femi just did smile. I don't know what's happening.
So you see.
Yes, Juma, you want to make a talk?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, just want to say the blame game. They can blame. You see where the education important. So now left for blame the woman say, "Nah, don't go give him money and and you the man, and they don't tell you whether attend on the usually woman they ask you stay in the can house. Almost o'clock they still sit down na junction with your party there. The can house 1 day, 2 day, 3 the day then pass. See the trouble on I can bring. All right. Mm-hmm. Continue, Femi.
No, really and Julia, I did smile because it's an educative session today. As I see, some of we the home say will come out, from more small, we sister them, woman cousin them, or woman then adios, then begin see them period. Even there, then the Adam Pawi. The big one then, when they talk to the small one, to the small woman, then they tell them, say, oh, then they ask them about cousin. I remember how small I used to ask myself, waiting at this cousins here, so then people actually talk, but I never understood. As a teenager, who then I decided to day London, I remember me mama, we went to Oxford Street at the time, Marks and Spencer, and you go to the lingerie department, and I kind of blushed if me not be with man, you go see I go don't turn all red like I Tibo been talk, but that palm thing, But the good thing about my complexion, but I stood away at a distance. I think say he noticed. So that day we kind of host. The next day we go shopping now for go buy groceries. He make sure say he send me at the aisle for go pick certain thing for and I kind of refused. And from that day we had a conversation. And he tell me say Femi, where you big, you wef something you wef go sick, you go get for go shop for them. Or you go get girl picking, this and that. So we had that conversation, and I believe say. Then they opened me eye to foresee Bokut in them, and I could ask many questions, and she answered some of them. I should say some of them she kind of jumped through and decided to go answer me. But it was a different time than I remember than when I've been small. We didn't tend to be like a taboo. So my question to Tina is, T-boy talk about I think what's T-boy call her? The red.
Or the parade.
The APC parade, something like that. So we have rallies. Yes, sorry. So a lot of people can get code names for volunteers. So back in the days, but even up to now, is it a good thing, or should we encourage people to talk more about it and get young women them and even young men them for understand from an early age, say this is natural and we should be able to discuss it?
Absolutely. The conversation get for carry on anyways. Young man they get for know maybe jokingly with a friend, they're going to talk, say, oh, you're up. So when I say you're up, like saying that, you're on, then kind of thing. So it depends on the relationship. The person will take a like fun, lighthearted. If you want for just trivialize the person or stigmatize it, if now work, the person really serious, you're doing work, you just go, you and the person don't get that kind of joke that they go be asked and say, how you doing on your period? How you moody so? Then that is an insult. Because they get personal with the person. We're not acceptable. But if you and the person get a certain conversation, then probably it's okay amongst friends or between friends, it's okay. But the conversation therefore carrying with young people, both boys and girls, because these boys need to understand when they're growing up into men, waiting woman they go through, then they will respect that even more. And when a woman says that they are not in the mood or whether they understand what it means and why the person is saying so. So therefore educate the boys them. The girls will therefore educate them and say, yes, as much as you get your mood and waiting, find a way of managing it for accommodate others. Because then you can't be moody 3 days a month, every month or whatever it is. If now works every day, people don't understand, but they get to a point that then just left you the card and sue. Important things going to go on and waiting, and not every countenance where you can't do it during that period. So you therefore go beyond the mood and the periods, find a way of managing it for maybe yourself will be part of the society at all times or part of the community or your work environment or anything like that. But also they talk to, I'm period, I'm making no activity. There are certain people go off sick every month because of that. Not because they want to, but because it's so bad with them and they don't know where to get help or how to get it. So they just stay away. The pain and everything and the moods, when they talk, say, yes, when people say, well, you have to go see a shrink, but sometimes it's really bad. They therefore see a doctor, we're going, a gynecologist, in terms of what they go on, you therefore see a mental health or psychologist for help with that. It's with some people, it's really bad. Let me just put it that way.
All right. So Umu will be one of the major contributor to the chat today. Umu will be to cover the last one. I just say, well, I think I remind they say some of them they menstruate for only 2 days. So I just want for reminder that as well. Yes. They mentioned about 5 days or something like that.
Yeah, people like a very short cycle as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, let's clarify one thing before I let you summarize for we the program today, they will round up. Okay. So, woman, they get, they menstruate and conceive. Is it possible? Science-wise, it would say they during the menstrual cycle, they conceive, they get belly because we don't hear them kind of question and they boku.
Well, it is possible, say the person don't conceive already.
Okay.
But because it don't ovulate down, that cycle don't come. It will get a period, but it will be like a false one. It will be exactly like a normal period where you get how many days, the same flow or whatever it is. So the person will say, well, I've seen a period, but then if you don't conceive just before that ending, you see. So yes, they will talk, say, well, it conceive. The question might say, oh, the body hold the coil, they get coiling, then you conceive. Obviously, it is launch or it drop. Now that's make again if you decide for use coil, whether it be copper coil or IUS, make sure say you always feel the string. Where they check for it in place. Because if you don't follow them, you don't know. As you carry on, you got to go and say you're on something that you conceive. You say, oh, you get the coil, now you get belly. Very impossible because if you get a coil, you get belly. Most people end up with ectopic or something. So now for them, the coil you don't for them, but you always therefore check. Make sure so you feel
that. Wait for them, it come on in place.
Yes, because until you know it's dislodged before it come out. Until you didn't have the toilet, you don't drop it, you don't even know. So you haven't got it in anymore. Let me always feel the string. Then you know say it in place.
Who would have killed Ruth's life? We don't get pregnant, we don't know say period for ages. We think it caused that. So just like what you explained just now.
Yeah, so yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you so much, Tina. We appreciate that you took time today for Can't Talk to We. But this tense conversation, you made it a lot easier, simpler, and relaxing for let we be part of it as men. And I should say, Bokuman and Akona, they smile. And the woman themselves don't learn, I believe, a lot. So summarize for we the whole program, the take-home messages and all of that, and you advise for women, men, and everyone in the community.
Well, my take-home message now say menstruation is a normal process. There shouldn't be any shame about it. People should not be silent. And people that were in position for ensure, say, they provide supplies, improve infrastructure, and the education, the conversation that for carry on. Thing where they ask me, say, you look like now you want, but until you talk to somebody, then you will not say no, not to you want. It's good to talk. Although it's good to talk to all three, they talk, but then if you have a problem, talk to somebody where they're in position for give you answers. But this infrastructure, how to improve them, the wash, then the choices of supplies. Then again, the choices of doing sustainable, we're affordable and accessible. Forget that. Then, the woman, they will be empowered. They will be able to deal with the menstrual hygiene issues and they will manage them well if all of these information, all of these services and infrastructures are available. So I think the last word I say, be aware, conversation for carry on, people that are in position, provide services. And we really advocate to continue for talk. People that get yes for you, say this is going on and people need help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll go over to T-Boy for round up and summarize, and Femi do the same as well. Then we'll call it a night. We've been bagging for 1 hour. We don't keep Tina for over 3 hours. Thank you so much for the extra time. Over to you, T-Boy.
Well, I want to say thank you, Tina. Very interesting conversation, and some of we don't know certain things that within the menstrual period of women don't get a lot of knowledge about today, and some of we really use them what they but at the same time, it's just a way of breaking the ice and make communication a bit easier. But I feel say it's very important to man and take them very serious as much as woman. Then for me, enough for say there are times in the lifespan of women where things are very challenging, and we've always be there for support and make sure say we lend them real hand in the different ways than we can. And look, we also make the conversation easy amongst each other so that we will be comfortable for talk about them. Because again, there are times when sometimes the papa would in our house, but the girl picking not comfortable for talk to mama because they feel in my mama will say, hey, if you do this, now this, I'll pass with you. So if the woman not get knowledge of this at all, you will find it very difficult for able to communicate with the girl picking. But look, we also find a way at which we'll be able to make them communication. They're also very easy. So we not ask the impossible questions or the difficult questions, then we will not foresee the answers, then when they come back in return for those questions might be answers of negative or answers of something will be in conflict. And look, we also remember, say, woman and back as well, it's just a matter of me saying to your partner, oh, I'm going through this, I need your help to do this, to do that, to do that. Sometimes it's just a nice way of saying things that people can respond. And something can be the man and say, not for saying you're not can feel comfortable for those certain things, so, but something can be the shame. And I don't see the reason why make it for fine and difficult for going to market or going to shop and tell the counter, say, oh, my partner sent me to buy some tampon. Do you advise which one could be the best or which one is better for, or what do you normally use? But she normally use this or use that. But I think there are a few more issues. Let's open the dialogue with people who they meet who don't know in terms of shopping. Like Juma say, you go shop, even know which one are the right one way the madam send her for buy, and you find it very difficult for us, so you rather go buy bundle. You want to go open factory and it's not named that the factory within the house now hospital for day, or just bring a single item or two where you need, like the particular destination. But let's keep the conversation open and let's make ourselves open to discussion. There are times when it might be uncomfortable, but we'll forget used to them. And then we find a way at which we will understand each other and support each other properly during these times. Thank you very much, Tina, once more for your contribution. And I think, say, with the knowledge of what you don't get the OB for nothing. And like you say, you're not contractor on the field, the desk for just they do the type.
Not right? OB behind the desk.
No, not so OB behind the desk. Now OB on the
well deserved as well. They tell how they run away. in the field they help with.
No, the way you want to become immediate.
No, I was not in Sierra Leone at the time. So.
You want to, I want to Ebola. But thank you very much. I think I was not too sure of where this discussion is going to go. I was a bit skeptical because everybody, they say, oh, how many, they actually don't talk about menstruation. But you make it very clear at points where people understand, say, yes, it is vital for men to be part of this discussion. And I think the important thing are the fact, say, man, then are the priority for discussions like this, because then are the people that we get all the stigma towards women in terms of this particular period of their life. So it is very important that on the platform, we have so many men who tuned in and watching and asking questions, even though they not come out and talk vocally. But I think for the fact say they need the platform, they're willing for kind of the platform for listening to the discussion, I think is very important. So again, some of we knowledge the way we get on this thing, not so magic. Now, because of the fact that we are open up to discussions, we discuss, we ask questions. Sometimes they are uncomfortable questions, but it's good to ask them, and then you get that uncomfortable reaction, but at least you don't learn. So for local students today, for get this kind of discussion with Tina, now because we still want for learn, we still they learn, so that we'll be able to pass on the small message we'll be able to forget, making reference to the professionals, because we are not experts in all of these things. So I thank you once more, Tina. And we raise we ask to you for the honor where the Queen give you. We therefore give you your honor now soon. Don't worry. They say the prophet is not just honored except in his hometown, but we get for give you that honor day back as well. Because the Queen's honor, yes, is good, but we have to give you your own honor, because they say charity begins at home. So if we don't honor you, somebody else honor you before super honor you. So definitely we want you for like you did at this platform on a regular basis, because we get so many issues that we need women for come and talk about. But we get very few women we able to come out and talk about these discussions. We get a health show, we do pretty much exactly what you do, and then they talk about extensive stuff on cancer issues then. So one for like a break come in, so people can talk about different things then related to health issues, then we have to say very important for like man and robot and woman no but who go for person to picking them. This is the generation of the millenniums. They don't pass. Now we look at the generation of the unknown. So if we go into the unknown, we don't know what is in front of us, they will struggle for dealing with the unknown. So let's make this conversation at least comfortable within ourselves, our partners, and we picking them, because then are the key part of all this discussion. Because if we're not able to forget the knowledge for discuss with them, we will be left out. So thank you very much once more for your participation.
You're welcome.
And the YouTube till they get less participation, but people were there watching, although not get question from them. But I think the Facebook has been very active, and I commend all those that have been involved in making comments, asking questions, even though these are like, again, the program don't show we say it is not a comfortable program we could talk about. So
we get for make it uncomfortable.
No, of course, because now the fact say most of the conversation was done online, which is also another medium of communication, which is good as well, because we get for make sure say we translate that now to vocal. People need for hear una voice, then make una put una voice to certain things, then and make una make sure say una voice just not they represent una, but it represents a vast amount of women within the society we they talk about, who they talk in favor of, who they talk because of the advantage and disadvantages then they face during the period there. So let's go to the dialogue and make it simple. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Femi.
Hi, Juma.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you. Yeah, so again, what a beautiful program. Tina, thank you. I begin by saying we're here to learn, and I don't learn beaucoup today. Apart from, see, I'm a married man, I have a daughter, but I also don't learn because I'm a manager at work, and I get female staff the way I do manage. So something we didn't get some kind of mood swings. I get for know how I get for able for support them in that and I sure see both of we listeners them again go they in a similar situation they like me. They will have female people at home and at work, something we then they look after. So as T-Boy say, we will try and bring you all the conversations them, even the one that we difficult for talk, but because that's what we're here for. We all want to learn and we want to pass on the knowledge. We want to thank Tina for we can share in knowledge with you today. And Asiwesi and Jumasi would love to have you again, because it looks like say this conversation get boku angle, they won't even begin to touch it safe. So please come back and visit us soon. But for now, I would like to thank our guests, because as I said before, without them we wouldn't be here. Week after week they keep supporting us. The one day we're not able to watch this program live, I ask you guys to share it with them. May them safe go watch them, because they might learn one or two things for able support one or two women them, or one or two young girls them. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you once more, Tina, for all the time. And like we say, 1 hour turn to 3 hours. That shows how you run fast, and it's been engaging. So we appreciate you, and we hope to get you again soon. So we've rehearsed them, and definitely we'll be here tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be very interesting. Tomorrow we have another guest here, a female as well, vocal, controversial, fun to be around, and we do open the conversation, the power of social media. We say we not get boku woman the way they talk, but that woman they very vocal. So tomorrow we have someone by the name of Daphne Pratt, where everybody they call Casada Kitchen. Casada Kitchen will be live with us tomorrow for the first time for a program on the platform, and she's going to be here willing and ready, and possibly when I will get some, breaking news there. Or I will tell, because what you want for can do, one for can understand why it take on to social media and how passionate she is about the issues them, and sometimes and they want for know who side they get in source them from, because what we find out, they don't do a lot of breaking news. They don't whistleblow a lot of things there. One from outside they get in source, and all that thing anyway they don't come to pass. So we'll have Casada Kitchen here tomorrow with us. So get ready. Hopefully, depending on how the conversation go, if we stay united and respectful, then we will make it more interactive. Thank you. God bless you all, and good night. Stay safe wherever you are.
Good night.
Yes, this na term for all salon people and them party them. Sarah Jem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO, because we get Bebe program then like salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon na www.sarahjemmedia.org. Now who's term these?
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, reports received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the survivors of gender-based. Or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
The total population of Sierra Leone in 2019 was stated approximately at 7.8 million. And the most common cancer reported in 2018 was breast cancer, with an incidence rate of 25.1% and a mortality rate of 19.2%. Ward 2 at the Connaught Hospital, Freetown, is a female surgical ward that cares for patients requiring breast surgery, chemotherapy, and palliative care. General surgery also admits to the ward as see fit. The ward is in need of a significant refurbishment and has a major impact on patient assessment and delivery of treatment, dignity, comfort, and infection control measures. The current ward area presents a significant challenge to infection control. There is no fit for purpose or adequate personal hygiene facilities. The showers and sanitary areas are in poor condition and are difficult to clean. The flooring is deteriorated. Overall deco and fabric of the walls need repair and full decoration. Furniture, cupboards, and shelving require replacement. The sluice, known to be the dirty utility room, is in poor condition and needs replacing. Windows need to be replaced as current windows bring in draughts, dust, debris, mosquitoes, and rodents. There is no designated area to provide a day service for patients receiving chemotherapy. Medical supplies is desperately needed. Therefore, we need a total amount of £15,000, which is equivalent to 195 million leones, for this project. This project will focus on women diagnosed with breast cancer and other non-malignant breast abnormalities requiring one or more of the treatment modalities that are currently available. We will also set up a day unit for the administration of chemotherapy and provide training and development to ensure sustainability. Therefore, I am pleading to all individuals, organizations, and local businesses, and every Sierra Leonean and friends of Sierra Leone to make a meaningful contribution that will never go in vain. Ways to contribute will be seen at the end of this clip. I am Aissata Cissé Jallow of the Health Show Partnership Program. Remember, your health is your wealth.
Nina Yvonne Akisoya, and 11th May 2021 make me 3 years where I don't day in office. I say let I come and tell Freetonians them, una boku boku tenki for where una elect me and una give me this mandate for serve una. But I not just want to tell una tenki for when I elect me, I want to tell Una thank you for what Una don't work with me and work with the councillors, work with the staff of Freetown City Council, work with so many stakeholders, including the central government, the international partners, the local partners. I want to tell Una, the Freetonians, and thank you, but I want to tell all the other groups and the Boku Boku Tenki. Together, we embark on a journey for Transform Freetown, and in nobody not been say it go easy. We published the plan in January 2019, and then in January 2020, we published our first year report, and then in January 2021, we don't publish with 2-year report. Inside the reports and day, you go able for read in much more detail, waiting we don't achieve. But family them, I still I just share today some of the things that really make me heart gladdy pan this walk here. One thing we're really glad about, now the wastewater treatment plant where we don't build na King Tom. This is not the first time ever in the history of Salone for let we get the thing where we come on our toilet. Instead of it just gonna grow na King Tom, it actually go into a plant where they get for separate the solid from the liquid and get for treat them and waiting for come out can go towards manure. It can now be safely, the liquid can now safely be disposed into the waterways. Another practical thing we are so glad for, now this urban farming project, we bring over 300, in fact we start with 300, now we add another 200 women them. We now at them backyard them and in community level, particularly in deprived communities.
And you can create this, where you give, the okra they come up, they will plant them.
Then women they do farming projects where go benefit them picking them for get more nutritious food, but it go also help them for get small thing at the hand as they sell them in the market. And then their nursery school. Family then go no say we've been done open the one at Congo Water Market for make vulnerable women them and then young picking them under the age of 5 get free quality preschool care. And now we dip and build the second one. We do refurbishment upstairs in the Croton Road Market, and that facility will be open and available to women and men traders inside Croton Road Market. Tricycles. Well, then tricycle and they not only then they help for keep we city clean, they also they create employment. We don't create so far over 1,200 jobs with young people then where they go and collect dirty na the streets. And now we get 90 more where they come on stream. So I'm so happy because it increased the capacity for collect dirty. At the same time, it increased the number of people them, young people that we get work. Let not talk and not talk about the transfer station when I did the dirty then they go. So we don't get 4 additional ones, including the one at Lumley, the one at Approved School, the one at Shell, and the one at Allentown. Bele Uman them. Then they all over the community. That journey for going to PCMH, it can challenge Boko of them. So we did work for upgrade 5 of we PHUs them for make them be monk, side with side Bele Uman, the able for born. Freetown people them, Boku people that know say dog na challenge na this city. And so we don't start a program for sterilize, vaccinate the dogs them so that we go get control over dogs and we the ambog motaman, but we the ambog themselves. We go make we city healthier and it go reduce the risk for let people then get us sick with and call rabies. I don't share small about wait we don't do and over these 3 years, but I just touch the Tinem Boku. I go say anybody who wants for no more, also go now with Facebook page. We get Freetown City Council Facebook page. We also get Yvonne Akisoya, Mayor of Freetown. You go able for follow we. Let we continue for work together with all we stakeholders for let collectively we transform Freetown. Una, thank you and God bless you.
Talk and go, talk and come.